1:38 o'clock.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Guyz. We are live tonight on YouTube, Twitch, Trovo, X. I don't know. We're all over the place. We have a great guest tonight. He's actually becoming one of my favorites. He's a return guest. He's from down under. We love him. He's a hypnotist. He's going to make Cheyenne cluck like a chicken. And speaking of Cheyenne, let's bring Cheyenne out here. Hello. Well, all right.
I'm working on my sign language for Amanda.
Wendell says hello. Let's see what Amanda's got to say here. What? Can you talk,
nope.
Amanda?
No, good thing I'm good at reading lips.
I don't know. Wendell says my volume is low, so
she is screaming internally right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's bring Mark out while she's figuring out her technical difficulties. So he is the guest of honor. Mark, welcome. We're glad to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me back, Cheyenne. You know that I can read lips as well, don't you?
In which way, Mark?
Yes, exactly.
In which way, Mark? I'm going to need you to specify.
Amanda's not impressed.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. There you go. See? There you go.
Woo!
Mention the word lips and she comes alive.
She was getting excited over there.
I am.
Thanks
I have been wanting to be on a show with Mark for a long time.
Oh, thank you. How kind.
See, Mark, yes. I told you my girls want you. So
yes.
And I must let your listeners know that because Glenn said that, he said to me the other day, I'm going to have both of my girls out. And I've got to say it again because I instantly thought of Glenn being a pimp.
Can you say girls again?
Girls. Girls, yeah.
Love it.
But thank you so much for having me back, mate. It's wonderful to be back. Thank you. And it's really good to meet you girls, Pimp Daddy.
Yes, you too, Mark.
Yes.
Yes, they have been fighting to get you back, and so I told them, I said, we'll get him, and then with the things that have been going on in my life, and I didn't have anybody scheduled, you just hit me at the right time, and I was like, Mark, yes. this is somebody telling me it needs to happen, so
yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed the last one. It was great, so thanks again.
It was. Well, we always have fun with you. You haven't made anybody cluck like a chicken yet, so we're still hoping for Cheyenne. But
if you see my shows, it's really not chicken orientated. So
damn it. So okay, so maybe it's more turkey or ostrich.
Well, I think you need to go and just look up Hypnotist Mark Anthony on YouTube. You'll see there's no turkeys either. No.
All right.
No farm animals.
That's it. Well, no, not really. No, that's actually called bestiality, I think, in some places. So no, definitely no farm animals either.
Oh gosh, remind me after the show to tell you guys the story of me watching the beginning of the Fallout series.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah. We'll be talking chickens.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of chickens, there's a new trend going around where in a movie theater, somebody will yell, "Chicken jockey," and they throw popcorn and snacks and stuff at the movies, and they've had to call the cops.
This isn't a showing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You're not supposed to be throwing stuff.
Yeah,
I like that. It hasn't actually reached Australia. That hasn't reached Australia yet. But now that you've told me, who knows? You might see me arrested for throwing popcorn in the cinema soon.
It costs too much. I'm not throwing anything.
Absolutely. So expensive.
That's like 2 cents. I was gonna say it's like a 2 cents per kernel. You ain't gonna be throwing that.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
But yeah, I asked
Cheyenne.
my son if they did that. I asked him because him and his girlfriend went to see the Minecraft movie, and I said, "Did you stand up and yell chicken jockey?"
I have heard so many stories
So,
about what's going on at the Minecraft movies. It
so
is insane.
Chey, can I just ask you, who's Wendell Bigfoot? I think, has he got the hots for you or something? Or is it
Totally.
So previously, he used to live under my front porch. Then he moved to living on my back deck. But now I have neither, so he's homeless.
Oh, so you kicked him out, is what you're saying?
I think perhaps now he might just live outside my bedroom window. So
he starts to come, and then he pulls out.
Whoa.
Well, Wendell, looks like she's giving you the elbow, mate.
Oh gosh, I love
Wait,
it.
I have a sound effect for you, Cheyenne.
okay. Oh wait. Oh
Wendell's
Jesus!
gonna
Jesus, Glenn.
Blimey. Wendell, don't get excited, mate. I think that was for Cheyenne.
It's too late. Glenn, you got it. Nope.
Okay, now Glenn, you playing that sound is actually more like my shows. So now you need to come to my shows. That's the sort of that's my adult show. Yeah, well that's the adult version. Wendell said he's in your attic now, by the way.
Wendell, there is no attic here, okay?
Still. Oh dear.
I love your black and white room, Mark.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love black and white. I really do. I really like black and white. You've got your room black and white. Yeah, I can see. And your ink as well. Your inks, is your ink black or grey? Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, my entire house is black and white.
Well, here's
I love that. Yes. What's that? Is that one of that? What is that? A big?
It's a Ouija board blanket.
Ah, is it really? Blimey, that's a big Ouija board.
Yep. And this is where it stays. We know.
Yeah,
you're not.
Yeah. No, good idea. Because if that's a big Ouija board, you're going to get big spirits coming in off that big Ouija board.
I've got enough to deal with Wendell. I don't need any of that. I don't need anything else attached to my leg or anything.
See, Wendell, she invited you in by using that blanket, mate. That's what happened.
No, it has not been used. So, nope.
I actually did a Ouija board once, and it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
it really did.
Happened?
It was because my whole arm. I did it with. There was about 3 or 4 of us, and she was one of my ex-girlfriends many years ago. I was only about 16, and she. Her mum and dad used to do it with their friends. Oh, fucking! I wish it'd be nice, wouldn't it? Thank you very much, though. So it's many years, and her mum and dad used to do it all the time with their friends. They all used to get together each week, and so we did it. We thought it'd be clever.
Wait, so they used to regularly use the Ouija board?
Yeah,
with the
honestly.
Group of oh Jesus!
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really I mean, we didn't know what it was. We just knew that they used to do it. And one day we did it, and we invited the spirit in, and all of a sudden the glass just went nuts. The glass, and it went nuts. Yeah, it was very scary, I must say. Yeah, very scary. So yes,
I mean, I'm a witch and all, but I ain't be doing none of that.
No, it was very scary. Yeah, very scary.
Things can happen. Things
can
exactly. To you, bring them into your home.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it.
No, well, fortunately, it wasn't my home. It was someone else's.
But it can still attach itself to you. It doesn't even necessarily have to be the home.
Oh, look, and again, I believe if it is a spirit, it was a good one because it never did anything else after that. So
it's crazy because I was reading a story where I work overnight. I'll read a lot of different Reddit stories just to pass time. And a girl was asking for advice because she was pretty sure that something had attached itself to her boyfriend. Because he apparently had a very similar situation that he told her about, but he didn't close it out.
Oh.
And apparently it had been there with him, but never bothered him. And they had moved in together, and they had an argument where she had like mildly raised her voice at him. And then all of a sudden the cabinets just open and slam shut. So it was almost like it was like, no, you don't be talking down to him.
Wow. Yeah. That's powerful stuff. It's like I say, fortunately.
Salty, how much have you been drinking tonight already? Jeez. Giving me some crap tonight.
Blimey, Wendell certainly got the hot set. Chey needs me to exercise for demons.
I need you to exercise for the demons.
Oh dear.
Oh gosh.
Squidward.
That's pretty good, Chris. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you've obviously both got crushes on here by the looks of things, have you?
Did Glenn not warn you ahead of time?
He didn't. No.
Glenn.
No,
I wanted him to get the full experience. So.
Oh, I think I've just got it in the first 10 minutes, mate. Don't worry about that.
Wait till you haven't even got the half of it yet.
By hour 2, it'll be crazy. So especially the more salty drinks, the better it gets. So
well, no, let's not go into salty stuff, mate. I'm not into that.
I mean, you might not be, but
whoa.
Oh, look, yeah, exactly. I'm talking about me. Don't worry, not you two. Listen, everyone to their own. Don't worry.
Chris said, I just really like Squidward, but my husband is probably on here.
Oh, really? That's probably him, is it? So well, let's just hope it's not Wendell, because it means he's doing the both of you.
No.
Oh, Wendell said, I know better than to mess with Amanda. I met her husband.
I take it hubby's a big bugger then.
He's pretty big.
Yes, he is.
We better keep it tame on here then. Whoever that guy was that was hitting on you just now, better keep it tame.
No, it's never tame.
Well, see, and Mark, you don't know that Amanda is also a professional wrestler. So Wendell.
Oh, you really? Excellent.
Wendell would get doubled. They would tag team him. So
no, do not tell.
Yep.
Not tell
I'm
him.
sure Wendell would love that, being tagged
that.
by these two. Nothing wrong with that, mate.
There's my husband. He said, hi, I'm the husband.
Excellent. Hello, husband. Hang on, that means that you can hear his audio better than ours. Abe. Hello, Abe, the husband.
Yeah, he's like terrifying looking, but he's the sweetest person. Like you would not, by looking at him, you wouldn't want to like meet him in a dark alley.
Abe is kind of like
charming. Did you hear that, Abe? What's she saying about you?
Abe is kind of like my landlord. That's what I like about my landlord.
Kind of like. Is he your landlord?
He reminds you of your landlord.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the bald, the big beard, completely tatted up, looks like the scariest individual possible, but the nicest guy.
Yeah.
So Wendell, did you hear that? Wendell, be careful, because if you start sitting on her deck and in her loft, in her attic, I think Amanda's husband might be round to see you, mate.
Abe, come save me.
Yeah. We'll be right there.
So is Abe a wrestler as well? Is he?
No, he's a death metal singer.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
He sings death metal.
I've got a few friends
and he's a trucker.
Bands. Oh, excellent. Oh, I see. Excellent. So who's Strong Short Soul now?
Oh, I bet that's.
No, she hasn't hit on Salty yet, so I don't think that is. I don't.
Okay.
But it could be.
Well, with it being cluck cluck, that sounds very much like
a chicken.
Her.
Soul.
Yeah.
Uncommon whole soul. So yeah.
So Mark, what
Yeah.
goes into, like, how did you get into hypnotism?
Oh, I've had an interest since I was so young. I used to be in a children's home many, many years ago, and I grew up in there for about 4 years. And I watched a movie called Svengali, and it's about this. It's a fictional character, and it was just this. Believe it or not, Amanda, where's Abe? Is he off air? Let's just, because he actually sounds a bit like Abe. This guy was a big, long beard and just really, scary looking. But it was absolutely fantastic. It was a great movie. It was an old black and white movie, and then ever since then, it just sparked my interest, and I lost. I didn't think about it for many, many years. And then later on in life, I started sort of seeing other hypnotists, and I saw a hypnotist about probably 35, 40 years ago called Paul McKenna. And I was saying to Glenn, and it was just, I think we spoke about this on the first or second podcast, and this guy just really intrigued me. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And because I knew my mind was so different to a lot of people I grew up with, I started looking at this guy thinking, if he can get people to do that sort of thing, that means that we could do so much more with it. And so I watched the show that he put on, and it was fantastic. It was absolutely amazing. These people were doing the most bizarre things on stage, and that really sparked my interest a lot more. And I always knew that the mindset was so important to any of us. And then I started, when I always used to read positive quotes and things, because I grew up in a really sort of shit area, a really bad area. So I knew the only way to keep even that little bit positive was to read positive quotes and read positive books. And that's what I started doing. And then that started changing my mindset. Then it led to the hypnotism, and the hypnotism started, I helped other people change their mindset. And I just absolutely love it. I mean, 22 years later, I'm still doing it and still love it. I really just absolutely love it. I really do. And I think for me, to be honest, Chey, I think the main thing for me is seeing people change. I love watching people laugh. Laughter's the greatest medicine. And I think there's too many prudes in this life. I think too many people are too prudish. And when I do a show, I'll do a family show, and then I put one together called Mark Anthony's Hypnotic Show. And I've realized very quickly that that's what the audience wanted. They wanted this naughtiness. And I love cheekiness. I've got, my sense of humor is probably like you lot. I've got a very sort of not filthy sense of humor. Well, I don't know if you lot have, but mine's not filthy, but it's naughty. And so I love a naughty sense of humor. I love, it's funny. I was walking with a friend yesterday, and we were talking about certain words. I love the word fuck. And it doesn't mean, I do. It's a great word. I used it since I was probably, as soon as I come out of mum's womb, I think I started using it. It was just, we grew up with that word. And it was, I use it, and I don't mean it because there's so many ways you can use that word.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I use it in the show quite often, and people love it. I don't like the C word. I think that's a horrible word. I've really got to hate somebody or hate something to use that word. I think it's a disgusting word, and even just thinking of it now, it's making me laugh, because I think it's a horrible word, honestly.
It's funny with you saying that, because I had used it the other day, and I was like, and I'm only saying that because I.
Did we lose Cheyenne?
Oh, Cheyenne, where have you? That's because you were Cheyenne. We lost you there. I hope you weren't using the word "see," because maybe that's why it cut out. maybe that blanket. Maybe there's a spirit in there cutting that word out.
No, I was saying it's funny because the other day I was talking about somebody and used that, and I was like, and you've got to know that I really don't like them for me to say that about them.
Yeah. That's it. It's one of those words, isn't it, that you've really got to detest somebody or something to use that word. Whereas the word fuck, you can say, oh, fuck, I forgot something, or let's fuck, or, fuck off, or it's so many different words or different ways to use it. And it's not offensive. I don't find it offensive at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't find anybody using it. I mean, kids, I don't like using it. That's different. I mean, I've got 4 kids, and I must say, I heard one of my little girls. We were driving around the car park once, looking for a car park, and this was after I divorced my ex-wife, and my ex-wife must have used it because we were driving around the car park, and my little girl was probably about 5 then, or 5 or 6 actually, and we were driving around, and I was going, "Oh, there's nowhere to park," and she went, "For fuck's sake," and I went. I said, darling, you can't say that. I said, you can't say that. Anyway, but that's the first word. I've never heard her say it since, and I must say they're great kids. But if it's just one of those words, I don't find it offensive. I really don't. But I think there's a certain age to sort of start using it.
That's kind of how I feel about bitch. It's got a lot of different. Yeah. It's got a lot of different ways to be used, and you can call me a bitch all day long. I'm just gonna laugh.
Exactly, because it's not offensive, is it? It's not offensive, no. That. Whereas
I'm like, you can figure out something better to call me than that.
That's it, exactly, because it's not offensive. You laugh at it. If somebody says you're a bitch, you go, "Oh, thanks. That's fantastic. Thanks for saying that."
Yeah, I know. Tell me something I don't know.
Well, Glenn said to me the other day about that. He said, "My girls, I call them my bitches." So I said, "Yeah, there you go, Shine. I'd love that." You see,
we have a bitch mance. You know, there's a bromance. Shine and I have a bitch mance.
There you go. There you go. Abe, are you still watching, mate? Did you hear that? That's a fantasy, apparently.
Let's catch up with the chat here real quick.
I thought we were.
Says he was Salty Dog said he was hypnotized once. It was an occasion late one night when Cheyenne had a wardrobe malfunction that revealed manna from heaven. So I don't remember the episode, but
I don't recall having a wardrobe malfunction, but there have been many a night when I have been drinking or might have had something else, so it could have happened.
And Salty Dog was obviously there.
It was probably a Saturday, if I had to guess.
He screen capped it. So, Chris wants to know if you were a fan of Rogue One and Star Wars, or is the name just a coincidence?
No, the Rogue Hypnotist came from, but no, I do like Star Wars, by the way. So, good question, because I do like Star Wars, but it's just coincidence. I was a street rogue growing up, a complete street rogue, because of where and how I grew up. So that's why I called the Rogue Hypnotist the Rogue Hypnotist, because he was a real rogue, and he became I'm probably one of the most honest people you'd ever meet now. Whereas years ago, when I was a street rogue, I would steal anything. I would do anything. I was just an absolute little C. I really was.
You were,
and we all know what the word C is now. Huh?
You were just a little shit.
Absolutely, yes, a bit.
and Wendell wants to know: is there anyone that cannot be hypnotized?
Yeah, there are. It's really funny because I had a potential client a few days ago, and this client, anyone that's high on drugs, anyone that's really drunk, or anybody that's mentally unstable. And the reason for that, Wendell, is because they've got to be able to focus and concentrate. And if they can't, and that's the same as all of us. If I'm really drunk, there's no way I could be hypnotized, because I don't take drugs anymore. But anyone who's drunk, I may be a bit insane, but I don't think so. So anyone who's drunk, anyone who's high on drugs, or anybody who's mentally insane can't be hypnotized for that reason, for those reasons. But that's it. I mean, anyone can be hypnotized, not necessarily for a show, but in a one-on-one therapy session. Pretty much anyone can be hypnotized. There's different people. I think I said to you before, Glenn, the people that are hypnotized for stage are really, there's between 5 and 15% of the nation that can be hypnotized from stage, because we need them. There's certain types that can be hypnotized on stage. Normally, they're very creative. You won't get people like, an analytical person. You can't get hypnotized for on stage, because analytical might be somebody like an accountant, or somebody like that. Somebody who's really sort of they're so focused on numbers and breaking things down, And they're too analytical, because the moment you start saying close your eyes and just imagine yourself, they start thinking, why is he asking me to close my eyes? Well, if I close my eyes, what's it going to do then? I wonder if it. So they're really not very good for stage work. But many creative people are great for stage, because it's all about using the imagination when you're hypnotized. And that's even like in a session. So when we're in a session, I might be saying to somebody, look, start imagining yourself on stage, speaking to loads and loads of people, and you're there and you can see the people in the audience and they're completely naked. Well, instantly the imagination goes to that. We use that, believe it or not, because they then don't find it serious. They don't look at it as a serious thing. So they start imagining something like that. Or you might say, imagine everybody in the audience with big red noses, big red wigs, speaking in a helium balloon voice. And that's the sort of thing you do. So creative people can imagine those things, whereas analytical people can't normally imagine them as well as creatives. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Like immediately as you were saying that, it just poof, it's right there.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So you'd be one of those, Cheyenne, that would be good for stage work. And I can see any way that you would be. And also Amanda, maybe because of the wonderful tattoos, they're very creative that she's got at home. Even hubby, because even Abe is very different looking. He's very, big beards, tats all over the place. And so they're the sort of people that are creative. Glenn, you can see he's creative by the way he does even I'm looking at para or normal guys. Even the things that he does, even his microphone, it's creative. It's different. Do you know what I mean? So they're good people for using on stage, and that's what I like. I love different people anyway. I've always said to my kids, if they ever come home, I want them to always do things right. And I've always said to them, look, if you come home and you tell me you're gay, you're trans, you're this, you're that, it doesn't matter to me. I don't see that as a difference. I love it. If you're happy, you're happy. That's all I want to care about. So I love different people, and even working on sort of cruise ships for many years, performing shows and performing other shows in other places, you get to meet so many great people, and they're all different. I love people. I can see the beauty in probably anybody. I don't care if you're fat, thin, tall, short, black, white, Chinese, Japanese, I don't care. I can see the beauty in pretty much everybody and everything. That's the great thing about it. And that's where that creativeness comes in. I've got many friends that are artists, and they can just look at somebody and go, okay, I know how to paint them in a different way. And I love that. I love different types of people. That's probably why I like coming on here so much with Glenn, because other podcasts that I've done, some of them can be quite serious. And some of them, they won't even allow me to use the word fuck. And to me, it's such a great, like I say, it's such a great word. And they go, oh, no, you can't swear on here. And I just go, oh, okay, that's all right. I mean, I don't mind. I'll obviously abide by what they want to do and not do, but it's a shame, because you've just got to be you. Do you know what I mean? Just be yourself. And that's why I say I don't care what creed, what color, what religion, just be you. And that's, and that's like people under hypnosis. They become different people under hypnosis. The real them comes out. And it's really bizarre to see, because you see so many people on stage that, once they're hypnotized doing all these funny things, they come off stage and their friends or family will go, oh my God, he or she is the quietest one in our group. They never say boo to anybody. And yet up there, they were just this wild. That's the real them. See, the real them is being suppressed by this other person or this other thing. And that's what happens. So under hypnosis, it's like having a drink. When you have a drink and you get a bit sort of, all your inhibitions go and you're fucking out there dancing. Yeah, that's like and that's what happens. So, sometimes the quietest person in the group, they might have a few drinks and all of a sudden the person that I was walking with this morning, I go for a walk in the mornings. She was telling me that when she was 16, she had a drink for the first time. And normally she was really quiet. And she had a drink for the first time. And she said she was up on the table dancing and singing. And people were just going, oh my God. That's what happens. And even under hypnosis, same sort of thing happens. They just come out, all the inhibitions go. And it's brilliant. I mean, that's why I love the shows. I love to see people laugh and have fun. And then the serious side, I love to see people change their lives and better their lives. So it's great. Yeah, 22 years of doing that, and you've got a great balance, you know.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Does body language play a part of any of it?
It does. It's like when I get the subjects on stage, or even in my office, I mean, even in the office, you know, if I say, okay, look, because hypnosis, again, I know obviously Cheyenne and Amanda weren't on the other calls with us, but I was explaining to Glenn, even in, you know, people, their body language is important, but even when you say to people, look, it's like meditation. It's very similar to meditation, and you're closing your eyes, but obviously with hypnosis, there's a positive end result using suggestions and things as well. Whereas meditation, obviously very different. Guided meditation is beautiful, and it's very, very similar to putting somebody into hypnosis. And once they're in that hypnotic state, they start to realize they're safe, they're secure. In fact, somebody asked me earlier on there, and I did see it. Sorry, I'll go back to that, because they said, so I'm safe when I'm hypnotized. Yeah, you're completely safe. You're fully aware of all the surroundings. So if you want somebody to be hypnotized, they've got to be open to something new. Some people will sit there like that. And I always say to them, you need to uncross your arms, because in body language terms, that means resistance, or that means, go on then, fucking hypnotize me. You know, and that's what they do. Some people, it's mainly men, I must be honest. Men normally like to prove that they can't be hypnotized. So they can go off stage and say, fucking told you, it didn't work for me, couldn't do it to me. I'm not looking for that sort of person on stage. And if they come into the therapy like that, I always say to them that you need to come back another time, because I'm not looking for those people. We're looking, you know, any hypnotist looking for somebody who's open to something new. Be open to it. You know, if you want change, or if you want to be part of a show, just be open to it. And if you're not hypnotized, it may be next time. It took me 5 times to be hypnotized, and that was by Las Vegas's Best of the Best, because I knew what they were doing, and obviously I was following it in my head, because I do it myself. So it took me 5 times, because I was not open enough to somebody else doing it. And then I let go, and I took part in one of their naughty shows, and it was, but we won't go there. Let's move on to another subject.
So something is a serious question here. When one is hypnotized, it seems that they are in an altered consciousness. This is akin to taking a mind-altering drug, such as, I don't have a clue what that is, but to a lesser degree.
Yeah, so many people say once they've been hypnotized, especially on a stage show, because they're the ones that go much, much deeper. So it's like going on a mushroom trip or an LSD trip. You know, not for everybody, but for some. And that's what they say. So yeah, it is. It's very similar to that. But always, you know, I've always said that you've got to go to a hypnotist that has got a good reputation, because it's so dangerous in the wrong hands. It's fantastic in the right hands, but in the wrong hands, it's very, very dangerous. And that's the problem. You know, if you ever go on onto YouTube and type hypnosis gone wrong, you'll see some of the fucking fools on there that play with it, and then they don't know what to do with it once somebody's smacked their head on the wall or fallen over. And so it's very dangerous. I said to Glenn before, there was a time a guy actually messaged me, and he said, I desperately need you to help. He said, I've been hypnotizing a girl in Canada. Do you remember this one, Glenn? And he said, I've been hypnotizing a girl in Canada for about a year. I think it's about a year or 2 years or something. And he said, and we were just messing around online. And he said, but this time, he said, I took her back to her childhood when she was really young. And he said, and she started she burst into tears, and she started screaming and shouting. And he said, and all of a sudden the internet cut off. She cut the internet off. And I said to him, well, I said, where did you learn hypnosis? Because any hypnotist would put in place that if the internet goes off, they would put so many safety things in place. And I said to him, where did you learn hypnosis? I didn't know this guy. And he said, oh, I learned it on YouTube. I've been watching things on YouTube. And I went, you fucking idiot. I said, so now what you've done, you've opened up that can of worms for that poor girl. Something's obviously happened, and events happened to her in the past when she was a kid.
And she's reliving it all over again.
Exactly. And that's the problem. And then he didn't know what to do with it. He didn't know what to do after she was in this absolute state. And I said,
YouTube didn't teach you how to handle that?
Exactly. That's exactly right. But that's what I get really frustrated with, Cheyenne. And to me, when people start doing it, I understand people, they're intrigued by it. I understand that. But to try and take somebody back along their timeline to their past, that's really not good unless you know what you're doing. Because he said to me, he said, what can I do? He said, what do I do? I said, honestly, I said a couple of things. I said, you need to get that girl you need to get hold of her however you can, because now you've opened that can of worms. This poor girl is just traumatized now at the moment, sobbing, crying, just probably freaking out. I said, you need to get her to a proper professional hypnotherapist. And he went, and what else? I said, and never, ever piss around with that sort of thing again. I said, that's my only advice to you. I said, never call me again, or never message me again. I really get frustrated. And I used to have, when I used to train some hypnotists, I always used to make them send me a police record, because I used to I want them to have a police record. I know hypnotists will train anybody. I know some of them train anybody because it's about the dollar for them. So I do understand some hypnotists are like that, but I always used to say, I want to see a police record, a police report about you. And they'd go, why? And I said, because I don't want to train the wrong people. And all the ones that I trained, fortunately, they had good police records. Some had a police record, but it was like driving offences, or, it might have been that they were a bad boy or girl when they were younger. I've got a police record from when I was a teenager. I was in a young offenders detention centre, a young offenders prison, when I was 17. And that was of doing all the wrong things. Like I said, I was a complete shit when I was younger. So I do understand that we can turn our lives around. My sister, she was in prison for murder. But since she's come out, she did 17 years out of 25. But since she's came out, she's turned her life around completely. So I know that we can turn our lives around, and I love seeing people turn their lives around. It's like I say, that's why I love doing this. But then, I want to know exactly what their police record is for, if they've got a police record, because there's certain people that I won't train, and people go, well, that's discrimination. But I don't give a fuck what you say. If I don't want to train them, I'm not training them. If they've got a police record for child molestation or rape or something like that, there's no way on earth I'm going to train them.
Yeah.
I said to Glenn before, I did a show on a mining camp. Mining camps are huge in Australia. And it was a great show. There was thousands of people on this mining camp in the middle of nowhere. And I did this show, and these two guys come up to me after. And because when they see women hypnotized on a stage, and these women are very vulnerable because obviously they're deeply hypnotized, men love to see that, so not all men, but some men love to see it. So these two guys come up to me after, and they went, here, mate, do you train that? And I said, yeah, I do actually. I said, I do train other hypnotists. And they went, fucking hell, this was their exact words. Fucking hell, so if we could train and learn that. I said, yeah, you can. I said, I do train. And one of them went, fuck, he said, we were just saying that, we could hypnotize them and fucking, do all sorts of things. And I went, that's why I wouldn't train you. You've just said the wrong thing to me. So that's
sorry, I don't train pieces of shit.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I was saying to them. And, but when you see how vulnerable some people can be once they're hypnotized, there's some great movies that if you watch the movies, you'll see that I know I'm probably repeating this. And if you've got some viewers that have watched the other episodes, I apologize for repeating what I'm going to say, but obviously Amanda and Cheyenne haven't heard this, but there's some great movies, and they reckon do you remember a guy called Saran, who apparently killed one of the presidents? Is that right, Glenn? It was a president, or he killed the person that killed or something like that.
He killed the bad guy. Yeah,
he did it. Well, that's right. So he says he's still in prison. He says that he was hypnotized to kill the person, and then hypnotized to forget that he'd been hypnotized to kill the person. And people have said to me, that's rubbish. It's not rubbish. It's absolutely not rubbish. It can be done. I think that's a great movie now. And that's the thing. There's so many good movies. Like there's one called Manchurian Candidate. There's another one called Trance. And they're really good movies. So if you ever want to see hypnosis in the way that it can actually be, Manchurian Candidate is about soldiers in the US that I think back in the 60s or something, they were hypnotized to kill certain members of their platoons, and they were hypnotized to kill ranking members or something. And it was actually based on true facts. They reckon these are true facts, and people go, yeah, but that can't be true. I've been doing this 22 years. I can tell you it can be done. And that's the worst thing. That's why I say you've got to go and see a hypnotist who's ethical, who's got integrity, morals and values, because it's so important. I've had a few people come to see me that have been to other hypnotists, and they've not had very good experiences. They're not very good at all with the other hypnotists. So they came to see me because after 22 years, I've got a good reputation. Although I do an adult show, in therapy, I've got a great reputation. I've not got a blemish in 22 years, and that's because I take it very seriously. I know there's a line. I don't even step over it in a show. So in therapy, there's no line. You just don't go anywhere near a line. And 75% of my clients are women. So I do have I've kept a very good reputation as somebody that's, they feel safe, they feel secure. Whereas some of the other hypnotists that some of these women have been to, there's been some not very nice stories from them. So yeah, it's very powerful. But like I say, in the wrong hands, it's very powerful. In the right hands, it's very powerful.
Yeah, that's scary.
So have they, I guess, experienced other hypnotists trying to take advantage of them?
Yeah. Because once my ex-wife, the mother of my two daughters, she was a somnambulist. So you've got different levels of hypnosis. So you've got, it's in technical terms, if you want to go, I like to keep things simple. I call it keep it simple, stupid hypnotherapy. So I've got a thing called hypnotherapy. When I train people, it's hypnotherapy. Keep it simple, stupid hypnotherapy. You don't need to get technical, but the technical words would be beta, alpha, theta, delta. So they're all the levels of hypnosis. I always say, look, it's light, medium, deep, and very deep. So my ex-wife, she was a somnambulist, which is really, really deep. They're the ones that you would love to get in the shows because they go very deep, and they don't remember anything when they come out, most of them. And so that's why I say you've got to be so ethical, because they don't remember things. Some of them go, what have I been doing up there? I don't remember a thing. And, you can put it back because all they've done is blocked it. Anyway, my ex-wife, during us going through our separation, our divorce, I said to her, look, why don't we get you in to see a hypnotist? I'd met this new guy 3 months before. He'd been doing hypnosis for about 17 years at the time. And I said, look, let's get you in to see him. And because obviously she'd get great results because she goes so deep. Anyway, my ex-wife was very attractive, very busty, very, all these wonderful things that, and I didn't go out of her for that reason, I will tell you, but she's just a very, very attractive, very smart lady, just all the great things, and gave me 2 beautiful girls. So thank you. And she was a somnambulist, which means that when she used to wake up from being hypnotized, she wouldn't remember anything. Completely goes out, and they go into this real space of nowhere. So I put her onto this hypnotist, and I drove her down there. The session was meant to be for an hour. So on the first session, she came out after the hour, and she went, oh, she said, that was weird. She said, I woke up and I don't really remember much, but I was in a different position. I was on the sofa. She said, but I started off in the chair. So I said, oh, okay. So the next set, I said, you okay going back? And she went, yeah, I'll be okay. Next time she went back, she was in there for 2 hours. And she was only meant to be in there for 1 hour. So when she came out, I said, you're in there age. I said, what happened? She said, I don't know. He was asking me all these other questions and like personal questions and things. She said, but again, she said, I started off in the chair and I woke up laying down on the sofa. And I just went, what? So I phoned this guy and I said, listen, why is she saying all these things? And he went, well, I don't know. He said, what are you saying? I said, well, I think you know what I'm saying. I said, what happened in there? What happened to her? Because she doesn't remember a thing. And, it's not good she's waking up on your sofa when she started off in the chair. Look, what are you saying? What you accuse me of? I said, look, we don't ever need to talk again. I said, we never need to talk again. I said, I really hope.
Well, if you're getting that defensive, then
exactly. It's the old saying, isn't it? Those that shout the loudest are normally fucking guilty of something. So that's what happened. So when they go really, really deep, some people don't remember anything. So you've always got to make sure whatever the hypnotist is, male or female, it's not always males. You've got to make sure that they're ethical and they've got a good name for themselves, because it's so important. Because if you're somebody that goes really deep, like I say, in the wrong hands, it can be very dangerous. So that's what I'll say about hypnosis and hypnotists.
That's insane.
Absolutely it is. Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. And so what's that? What's he saying? Salty dog? Conscious person can be a giraffe when we all see a tree. Proves that nothing exists until it's... Yeah. Yeah. So again, you see, if it's like, salty dog, whoever you are, but it's absolutely true, because once we start imagining things, then the imagination becomes reality. That's what happens. So through repetition, this is why smokers smoke. This is why vapors vape. This is why alcoholics drink too much drink. This is why drug addicts take drugs. This is why, people see themselves as being these real, failures and everything else, because they see themselves that way. They picture themselves doing all these things. It's all about the imagination, and people don't understand that. The conscious mind is the monkey chatter mind. So, for instance, I'm talking now, and I know that all 3 of you might be listening to me, but you're also thinking of other things. You might be going, fuck the bread, I've got to get the bread later. Oh, the milk. Oh, I've got to forget the milk. I forgot the milk. So we think of other things. That's the monkey chatter. So that's the conscious part of the mind. The unconscious part of the mind is the memory. So that's the one that through repetition, through the conscious mind, repeat, then passes it through to the unconscious mind, and it repeats. And that's when it starts becoming that memory or that habit. And I always say to people, even the people that come to my weight loss seminars, the problem being, you see, I used to be 16 kilos heavier than what I am. I used to be a smoker. I was on drugs. So all of these things, it's about changing the way you look at things. And so in the weight loss seminars, I always say to the people, look, what you've got to understand is that when you tell yourself something, it goes in here. So if you look in a mirror at somebody that's overweight, I know that I used to look in the mirror when I was 16 kilos heavier, and I used to go, fucking hell, I'm getting fat. Yeah. So what does the mind do? It goes, no problem, Mark, you're getting fat. Because it will only do, because it doesn't know if it's wrong or right. It will keep feeding what you're telling it. And I always say to my weight loss clients, it's more important about what goes in here than here. Okay. And that's what it is, because it becomes the imagination, and the imagination far outweighs any willpower that we've got. So you've got to be careful what the conscious mind says all the time. And sometimes if it says negative, you've got to change it to positive as quickly as you can. It's like some of the clients that I get in my office. So they might come in and they'll go, oh, it's rain. It's pouring a rain outside. It's so horrible. And I'll go, yeah, but what's above those clouds? It's the most wonderful, bluest of blue skies you've ever seen. So it depends how you look at things. So when you start changing the way you look at things through the imagination, that's when you can turn things around. And that's when things become reality. And if it's like today is not the greatest day outside, but to me, it's beautiful. I've been for a walk this morning and it was grey skies, and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't faze me because I see what's above it. I think of what's above it. I think of all the wonderful things out there. It's all about using the imagination and what you do with it. So all those negative people, all they ever think of is negative. So the monkey chatter starts passing all this negative to the unconscious part of the mind. So the conscious mind goes, fucking shit day I'm having. Oh, it's terrible. It's the worst day of my life. I get a flu this time every year. Every year at the same time I've got the flu. No, you haven't. It's because you keep telling yourself that. That's all it is. I was a hypochondriac when I was young, and mine was more attention. I just wanted attention because we didn't get it from, we grew up with domestic violence and abuse and everything else. So we just wanted attention from anything and everybody. So as we grew up, I started becoming this, I was a real hypochondriac. So I'd go and see my doctor nearly every day. It didn't go on for years, but it went on for months, without a doubt. I can remember I'd go in and see the doctor, and the doctor would look at me and go, Mark, you're fine. No, I've got this. You're fine. I just wanted somebody of authority to give me that attention, and that, it's fine. Everything's fine. And I didn't realize this until obviously later on, but I was such a hypochondriac because I kept telling myself that I felt this and the day's bad. And then when I started rethinking things and turning them around, that's when things got better and better and better and better. My doctor the other day, I had to phone my doctor the other day, and he said to me, he's such a great doctor. I've been with him for probably 10 years. About 16 or 18 years ago, I had a tumor on the pituitary gland. And so I had to have tablets for it. And they said to me, you'll have 3 tablets every week for life, and I went, okay. They said, oh, you can have it operated on, or you can, go and have chemotherapy, blah, blah. And I said, no, let's just try the tablets anyway. They couldn't find it about 4 years ago. I have a scan every year, and they couldn't find it 4 years ago. And they went, fuck, have you had the operation or something? And I said, no. It's, and they went, it's gone. We can't understand why it's gone though. And I went, well, that's all right. It's good news, isn't it? And they went, yeah, it's great, but we don't understand where it's gone. I said, well, that's right. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so I'm now on half a tablet every week. And I phoned my doctor the other day to get the script. And I said, Dr. Hamid, it's Mark. And he went, Mark, he said, oh, I haven't seen you for ages. I said, I just need to get my script for these tablets. And he went, oh, he said, you need to come in. He said, I can't do a phone consultation because after a year, you've got to come in. So I said, oh, okay, no problem. I said, I can come in. He said, it's been more than a year though. I said, all right, well, that's good news, isn't it? If I haven't been to you for a year, that's great news, surely. And he started laughing. He went, yeah, he said, it is actually. He said, it's very good news. We just don't realize that when we think of things differently, the mind is phenomenal. I always thought to myself, that pituitary gland tumor, I don't want it operated on. I don't want to do chemotherapy. I've just got this feeling that I'm not going to focus on it, because I don't focus on it. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. I don't focus on it like many other people. And so it's all about changing your mindset and changing that vision that you've got of it. And my critical mind doesn't say anything about it. So the unconscious mind doesn't believe anything about it. And that's how I sort of look at things.
I think a lot of that starts when we're young too, because I have a tumor that causes epilepsy, but from a young age, it was never. It was just like, okay, this is just something I have and I live with. My parents never taught me to look at it any different, and even like whenever I went in for them to like do a biopsy on it, I was like, okay, it is what it is. But mindset over anything like that really is so important, because I'll tell people that and they'll like, oh my God, and I'm like, I don't know why you're freaking out. I mean, I've lived with it, so
yeah, that's it. People freak out for you, don't they?
Yeah, and I'm like,
Other people
I've had this since I was 4 years old. I mean, it's part of me, because I was the same way of like no, don't touch it. I'll take the medicine. If it's just there and it isn't doing anything, then no, you ain't cracking my skull open for that. So
yeah, well done.
It makes me think about the book The Secret. Have you read The Secret?
I love The Secret, and I love the only thing I always say, Amanda, that the funny thing about The Secret though is that too many people. I love The Secret, and I love that Rhonda Byrne, wasn't it? Was it Rhonda Byrne?
Yeah.
I love the fact that she brought it to people's attention, because so many people have got no idea that if they change this, you'll start seeing the world differently. You'll start doing things and believing in yourself, and all these great things. And I loved it. But the only thing is with that book is that they say, just visualize and it will come to you. It fucking doesn't, because I've been visualizing many things. It hasn't come to me yet. So
that $1 million is still not in my pocket.
That's it. Exactly right. So it doesn't happen that way.
I had met a great group of people that I had previously worked with, and one of my closest friends had one heck of a life. Had previously like dealt with severe alcoholism and different things like that. And whenever I started working with them, she was just like, no, you put good things out, good things come back in. And as soon as I was around that every day where I worked, that became so important. Of like, no, even in a sense of smaller things, you start to visualize that, you speak it into existence, just how much better life was in being around that and changing your mindset to that. I was so much happier as a person. And especially when you surround yourself with people that are like that, because the minute that mindset changes and you're around like the people that you previously were, and it's that constant negative, you're like, no, I'm not wasting my energy on y'all's negative bullshit. I've got my positive. Either y'all take it and run with it and it's worked for me, or I'm just nope, can't.
Yeah, well done. You've just said, do you know what, Cheyenne? You've just said, can I say Cheyenne rather than Chey? Because I love Cheyenne. I love that name. And I just love that name.
Cheyenne is my name.
Beautiful name. I love that. I absolutely love that name. And you're absolutely correct. And what did we just say, though? The more you put in here, if you keep putting positives in here, it will give you positives. But if you put shit negative in there, it's going to give you shit negative, guaranteed. So it's great.
it was a really big thing for me because like the previous year before I had started working with them and become friends with them, like family life was, I mean, granted, it was also during COVID and everything was crazy around that time, but family life was crap. I'm just getting hounded with negative crap all the time. And like, I felt like I was on the verge of like a mental break of like, I just need to go sit in a room and not be around anybody because I can't handle it. And then the minute I had like changed jobs and was around these different people, I was just like, it was just like such a weight off my back of, no, I'm not giving any more of my time to the negative. Yeah, some days are going to be shit. They're going to be rough. I'm not going to feel great, but you continue to put the positive in. That allows you, even if it's just to other people that you're around, not you take the positive in, you can put positive out into the world.
Absolutely. I always say the most important thing is for you to feel, number one is you've got to feel good about yourself. If you feel good about yourself and you tell yourself positive things, if other people don't want to be around you because you're too positive, some people get probably pissed off that I'm so positive sometimes. I don't
They're
give
lost. They're lost.
I really don't care. Like, I love people, but if you want me to start coming down to your level and be negative, there's no chance. You got no chance. Let's not be friends because it's not going to work. And I just think that's how we've got to look at things. We're only here once on this earth. And I always say to people, we you know, if there's an afterlife, we're not going to know until we get there. So let's live this life and enjoy this life. Do what you want to do. Be who you should really be. And life will be great sometimes. Of course, we have bad days. Everyone has a bad day. Or not even a bad day, but they might have a bad few minutes. It's funny, actually, Glenn, I said this to you before as well. There's a great saying, and I think all of you appreciate this. And I say it to my clients. Some people take a bad 5 minutes and they milk it. And they milk it for a week, a month. They milk it for years because they're so negative that they just love to milk that negativity. And that's the sort of people, you know, some people aren't happy unless they're unhappy.
I lived with someone like that for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I think that was when I reached my breaking point too of like, no.
Yeah, well done.
This is all good and happy here. Yeah. You're not going to take that.
No, you can't. And that's the problem. It's like, some people don't like to, they don't want to be the last person on that sinking ship. And there's a really, I've got to tell you this story because I know I go on sometimes chat, because I want you to realize that this is how the mind works and this is how we can change our lives. But there's some people you can't change because they don't want to change. They're happy being fucking boring, or they're happy being, you know,
miserable. They're happy being miserable.
Completely miserable. So I had this client, his girlfriend paid, actually, Glenn, I know I told you this one, but I've got to tell the girls this, please. And this client his sessions were paid for by his girlfriend. She said he smokes and he takes drugs. And she said, I don't want him to because my dad was a real drug addict and really nasty on drugs and this and that. So I said, no problem. So she said, I want to pay it as a gift to him. So I said, yeah, no problem. And he came to see me. And the first session, he had 3 sessions. The first session stopped him from smoking. So the second session, he came back and I said, have you had any drugs this week? And he said, well, I've had a little bit. So I said, he said, but, you know, and I said, what? I said, why? And he said, because I love them. He said, I love the drugs. And I went, okay. He said, they make me happy. I said, well, this guy was a really nice guy. I mean, such a nice guy, but he was obviously very either unhappy or just one of those that has to get a hit from something like drugs. So I said to him, okay, but all you're doing is buying happiness for a few hours. That's all you're doing when you take drugs. You're buying happiness for a few hours. And then you come plummeting down and then you buy happiness again for a few hours because you're plummeting down. You don't. So that's all he kept doing. So I said, all right, look. And I said, well, do your best. We'll give him a recording to take away. He was obviously one of these that just didn't want to stop the drug taking. Anyway, the following week, his third session, he came back and I said, have you taken drugs? He went, yeah. He said, I was on a bender last week. So I don't know if you know what a bender is, but a bender means, yeah, I really went on one. Yeah. So I said, okay. I said, when you say you went on a bender, he said, yeah, I went on a real bender last week. He said, blah, blah. And I went, okay. And he said, and, you know, my girl, I said, who were you with? Because normally he did it with his mates. He said, I was with my girlfriend. Me and my girlfriend did it. He said, and my mum came over and he said, she's never tried drugs. He said, so she had some with us. And I went, fucking hell, really? I said, so instead of you getting yourself up and out of it, you dragged everyone else down with you. So that's what they do. They drag everyone else down with them rather than get themselves up and out of it. In a positive way, they drag everyone else down. And that's what some people are like. They just want to drag everybody else down with them again. And that sort of thing, you know, that frustrates me because life is so great if you make it great. And, you know, to see that happen, see those people, that guy do that to his girlfriend who hated drugs and his mum. I mean, that I was just blown away by that. You know, I just couldn't believe that instead of him bringing himself up, he dragged them down with him. And so I was so glad when the sessions were over because I really wouldn't want to see him again. I really wouldn't. And I know some people would say, you know, well, you know, it's a bit unfair because he might change. No, I've got sympathy because of what I've been through in life. I've got sympathy, then I've got empathy, and my empathy stops at a certain place. Because if you keep doing all the things that you've been doing that are negative, and I'm giving you all the tools to get out of it, and you're not using them, and then you're coming back whinging and whining to me, that's it.
You don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear it. No. That's how, you know, that's how some people are, though. They're just not happy unless they're unhappy.
You can give all the advice in the world, be there to listen, but if they're not willing to help themselves, then no, got nothing for you.
No, absolutely. Yeah. So it's all about a mindset. It really is. Mindset is everything. Yeah. I've treated people that, you know, we've got them better and it's just like miracles. And, you know, you just see some of them and you go, wow. I mean, I've got some stories that would just blow you away. And it's all about their mindset that's changed them. You know, people that have had strokes, people that, a woman had polio, another girl that was a complete vegetable in a wheelchair that hadn't walked for 3 years, and she walked 15 steps one day, or 10, 15 steps, and her dad phoned me in floods of tears, like screaming and crying down the phone after I'd left her about an hour later. And I thought, oh, fuck. And I said, what's wrong? And he went, Mark, he said, she's just got out of her wheelchair and walked. He said the physio was here with me, and the physio had been treating her for 3 years. And he said if he wasn't here to see it happen, he would never, ever have believed it. And another one was a woman that came to see me. She was 50. She had polio. She had a polio attack in the bath when she was 2 years old. And so when she came to see me, have we got time to tell this story, Glenn? I know I'm probably going on a bit, am I? Is that all right?
No, you're good. We'll get some questions from Salty, but we'll get to them in a minute.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll make this just a quick story then, because I just want you to realize how powerful our mindsets are. And hypnosis is just, you know, as a hypnotist, we're just the guides that guide you there to that part of the mind that can make all these wonderful things happen. And so this lady came to see me. She was like this. Can you see that on the screen? So her arm was fused there like this. And she came to see me, and I'd just been on TV at the time. And so we were busy, 7 days a week. It was, you know, because once you've been on TV, the phones just go nuts. So I'd just been on it. So the phones were going off, and I couldn't fit anyone else in. But this woman phoned me and she said, I'm absolutely desperate. She said to my assistant, I'm absolutely desperate. I'm going away. I need to lose weight. And I know that Mark can help me. She said, I've been loads of places, but I know that he can help. So we fitted her in, And she came to see me like this, and she walked through the door. And I said, look, I know you're here for weight loss. I said, but can I ask you what's the matter with your arm? And she said, I had a polio. She was 50. She said, I had a polio attack when I was 2 years old in the bath. So I said, is it always like that? It's fused there, is it? She said, yeah, it's completely fused. She said, my husband's actually a surgeon, one of the top surgeons in Australia. And she said, and him and his colleagues have said it'll never do anything. It's just fused there. And I went, oh, wow. I said, if you go deep enough, would you mind if I tried something? And she went, yeah, if you want. Anyway, you're not going to believe this. The first session, it still gives me goosebumps now. On the first session, she was one of those that went really deep. So it was really great for the session. And I took her back along her timeline. And we went back to the time she was in the bath at 2 years old. And her arm was like this. And I said to her unconscious mind, now take her back to before she was in the bath. And obviously, if she went back before she was in the bath, she hadn't had the polio attack yet. Which means what? Which means that her arm was working perfect before that. So in the bath, I said to the unconscious mind, please take her back before. Anyway, all of a sudden, her arm started going like this. It still makes me shiver now. I'm shivering because it was so... I was quite new at the time. And I'd never seen this. I'd seen some things that, stopping smoking, fears and phobias and other things, and they were great. But then this thing started going like this, started shaking. And I went, what? It scared the shit out of me at first. I looked at it and went, and I thought, I've got to remain calm because her arm was just doing this. And I thought, what the fuck? So I said to her unconscious mind, look, I said, please, just can you remember what you're doing now and bring her back to today? We'd already done the bit with the weight loss bit. So she came back and she sort of opened her eyes and she sort of moved it slightly like that. And she went, oh my God. She said, what? She said, what happened? She said, my arm slightly moved. And I said, you wouldn't believe it if I told you. I wish I had a video camera because if people could see it, they'd go, that's just not right. It's a miracle. It's classed as a miracle. I mean, I'm not religious per se, but I believe there's higher beings and things. So it was just this. And she went, she said, I can't believe it. She said, what's it? It wasn't moving a lot, but she sort of moved it slightly. Anyway, so the second session, she came back for the second. This time I was prepared and ready. So I said, look, can I do something again with it? And she went, definitely. She said, yes, please. I said, I believe that I can do more with it this time. Anyway, under hypnosis, once again, I took her back to the bath, took her back before it happened, and it started moving even more this time, started doing this. And I said to the unconscious mind, please remember every muscle movement, make it a memory, the muscle movements, how you're moving and everything else. Anyway, so I bought it and I said, and bring it all back to now. When she came back to now, she woke up and her arm was moving like that. She was moving her arm like that. And she went, oh my God, it was just a miracle. And I said, I know. I said, look, I'm surprised, but not surprised. I said, because I've seen things that are so powerful, but this is probably the most powerful one so far. And anyway, she phoned me a few weeks later. She wanted to come back for a third session. And we didn't in the end, but she actually said she was holding the steering wheel with both hands. She wasn't using that one, but she'd obviously gone like that with it. So to be able to do that after 48 years, it was just a miracle. And she never came back for the third one because she phoned up and insisted. She was very wealthy. Oh, spray that again. No, she was very wealthy. And she when she phoned, she insisted that I fit her in, and I couldn't. And she said she called my receptionist assistant, she called her a bitch. She said, listen, you bitch. She said, and I just went, and I phoned her and said, look, you can't come back. I said, no, I won't be having you back. But so I don't know what happened to her, but that was a miracle in itself, that one. And like I say, I've had other ones, but the mind is just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, I know I said I'd make it a short story. It was a storybook, but it's worth it. I get carried away with them because I just find them so amazing, some of the things that have happened. And like I say, the one that was the vegetable in the wheelchair was another one. This poor little darling was just she was 30 years old and her life was done. You know, her life was ended since for the last sort of, I think, is 11 years. Her body had just been giving up. And look, when we've got another time, I could maybe tell you that story, because it is a fascinating story. And she was just this beautiful, beautiful girl, top of the class in her uni and everything in school, smart as anything. But I never knew all this when I first went to see her. But that's, you know, if we've got time, you tell me and I'll tell you that story as well. But do you want to answer some questions first? Do you want me to answer some questions you said from Salty Dog and Rabid Rabbit and...
Well, he was asking about the positive suggestion to a person, a hypnotic person, could eventually be encouraged to not only quit smoking, but wants to know if they could go to the other extreme, like to find anti-gravity energy. I think he's being a little facetious there, but
yeah, honestly, I don't always, like, I can't ever, I believe some of these things can be, you know, when somebody's deep enough. Honestly, if you saw some of the people that go deep enough, or somnambulists, you would just go, that can't be right. I can get somebody in many of them, like I say, there's some videos on YouTube, but if you look at some of the videos on YouTube, like I could take somebody who they might be as skinny as my finger, skinny as tiny, and yet I could get somebody like me, once they're hypnotized and laying across 2 chairs, to stand on top of them. Amanda's husband, apparently, is a big guy, you know. So if you look at her hubby, is a big guy. You're not going to believe it. I can take the smallest person that, like I say, could be as skinny as my finger, and if they're somnambulists, I can get them so deep and lay them across 2 chairs, and her hubby could stand on top of this person, and they wouldn't bend. That the mind is ridiculously phenomenal. It's honestly, because it's only the critical mind, the monkey chatter mind, that doesn't believe things. It doesn't believe, you know, if you said, look, I'm going to become straight as an iron bar, that would be, oh yeah, bullshit. No, you're not. What are you talking about? Yeah. But the unconscious part of the mind goes, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I can do that. I can become powerful and do that. And so it does. And then they lay across these chairs. I think there is some on YouTube on my channel now. We've just started uploading a lot more because we're getting so much call for it. And I've got a guy in Canada that actually does it for me now. I did a deal with him a few weeks ago. So he's uploading more and more every day. And there's so many things that you see these people laying across the chairs, and they're stiff and rigid like an iron bar. They won't bend. They just won't bend. They're stiff and rigid like iron bars. And if you see it, it's again, it's all mindset. You know, their minds believe they can do it, so they can do it. And that's what happens. If their critical mind stepped in and said, you can't do that, they would collapse. But the critical minds are way over there with somnambulists. It's off somewhere else. So their unconscious mind goes, yeah, I can do that. I'm stiff and rigid like an iron bar, so I'm not going to bend. And even when you lay them down, they're like that. They're stiff and rigid. They truly are like iron bars. It's phenomenal. And you can probably tell by my excitement, even after 22 years, like I said at the beginning of this, I still love it because it is amazing. And then the great thing about it, anyone can be trained to become a hypnotist. Anybody. And that's why it's so important to get the right people. I mean, I've met some fucking dodgy hypnotists, and you know, I have, and some of them have got no ethics, no integrity, no morals and values. I've trained some. I think I told you this before, Glenn, and I've trained some hypnotists, stage hypnotists, and they've gone off and started doing shows in the venues that I do shows, and you know, some of the other ones have gone off and done my courses. You know, they've trained people with my course books and manuals. So some of them are really, they've got no integrity, no ethics, no morals. And it's a shame because we're in that profession. As a hypnotist, you've got to have morals and values and integrity. And if you don't, you shouldn't be doing it, you know, because to see a client and, like I say, to perform a show when somebody's so deep under hypnosis, you've got to have that integrity. And some of them haven't. It's a real shame. Yeah. But that's the way it goes. But yeah, anyone can learn to be a hypnotist. That's a great thing about it.
Well, karma is a real thing too.
I totally believe that as well. Yeah, I truly believe that. I do, honestly.
Yes,
Yeah, I really do.
You put negative things out into the world, negative things come back too.
That's it. Yeah, I really do believe that. That's why it's always good to stay positive. If you can stay positive most of the time or all the time, as much as you can, you'll get positive back. Yeah.
yeah. And speaking of that, Mark, where a positive human does a benevolent thing, they have an endorphin rush. Do you believe a negative person gets an endorphin release from releasing their negativity?
I believe some people, I think I know what he's saying. I think, so yes, I believe positive people get a rush and they do get those wonderful endorphins and things from getting, being positive and doing positive things, but also a negative person might get something similar from doing negative things. I think that's what he was asking. And again, I just don't see why you'd want to keep doing negatives and thinking negative all the time. You can change your life. Truly, this is why I can relate to so many of my clients. There's not many things I haven't been through. And yet I've changed my life completely. I've completely turned my life around. None of you three would ever wanted to have known me when I was younger. There's no way. You would have been the sort of people that when I went in their house, and it's terrible to say it now.
I can second that for myself.
See, there you go. So how many people wanted to know you when you were a kid? Not many. No, exactly. Because, all they see is some little shitbag walking in their house that might go and nick something out of their cupboard, or they walk out and...
I would say they wouldn't want to know me as a teenager.
Yeah, see, there you go. And that's the thing, but you've changed. The thing is, Chey, that when people change, we can all change. And some people want to change and others don't. But I always say you've got to change your environment first. There's three things. Change your environment, then you can change your mindset, and then you can change your life. You can't just change your mindset and then change your life if you're living in a negative environment. You've got to change that environment first. And that's what I did. I had to change the environment before I could change the mindset. I did my best and my utmost to change my mindset while I lived there. And I couldn't. So I had to get myself completely away from the negative environment. Then I could change my mindset and then my life.
Change your mindset, deal with your trauma, change your life.
Yeah, well, that's it. Exactly. Change. So dealing with your trauma is obviously a massive part of the mindset. Because even people that I always say to people when they come see me, therapy clients, and also I treat people online as well. So I've treated people in India, I've treated people in America, I've treated people in Canada. So because it's only about changing that mindset. And once we start changing that, and we can all do it if we choose to. Some people don't want to do it, and that's fine. I don't understand, but that's their journey.
It really is like you have been carrying that heavy 50-pound backpack uphill your whole life, and then finally, poof, it's gone.
Release it. Yeah. And why wouldn't you want to do that? See, but some people don't. Like I said, some people take that bad 5 minutes and they milk it for their whole lives. And so they keep that backpack on their back all their lives. I just don't understand it.
That is the first time that I have heard it put like that, and have never been able to put it into words.
Yeah.
And I love that, of milking that 5 minutes their entire life, and that is just perfect.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah. And I say to people, look, when they come see me for a session, if we're driving a car, we've got a big, huge windscreen at the front for a reason, so that we can see where we're going in front of us. We've got a tiny rear view mirror so that we don't have to keep looking back. That's why the big difference. Huge screen where you're going and a tiny little rear view mirror. Because that's
basically like they flipped it. They're looking out the little tiny.
Yeah, that's what some people do. But trouble is, Chey, some people love doing it. And I don't have much time for them. I really don't. Some people say, "Oh, this is a bit harsh." It's not harsh. I don't fucking want them around me all the time.
When you've been like that for so much of your life, and you've changed that, no, of course you don't want to be around that.
No.
because that uses up so much of your energy, and you could be using that energy to be doing so many more different things.
Yeah. It's funny, when I first started the hypnotherapy, and I used to take on everybody's issues and problems, because I take it on when I do sessions. I used to take it on. If I used to see sort of 3, 4, 5 clients a day, sometimes I would take on all their issues. I'd take it on board, and then I would, at the end of the day, I'd feel fucked, because I'd go, oh man, I feel so down in the dumps. I feel so, and then you'd think, so I started putting up a shield, a barrier, so that I don't, it just deflects off of it. Any problems that somebody's got, I'll take things to my grave that I have to, because obviously client confidentiality. I'll take things to my grave that many people would not be able to handle. Honestly, listening to somebody else tell that story, or tell, they wouldn't be able to handle them. And so you've got to put up that shield and that barrier, because if you don't, you take it all on board and you wouldn't feel good. But it's amazing. You've really got to put up the barriers to negativity.
It's hard to do, but yes, you do need to. Even like we
Absolutely,
talked about before, being in emergency services,
That's what I was about to say. I was going to say, I feel like Glenn would really
Oh yeah.
know that.
Yeah. I mean, there were days I would come home there for a while and I'd unplug the kids' alarm clock, and you'd find me on the couch with a bottle of Jack Daniels after being up for 36 hours,
Wow.
But, yeah. I mean, there was days like that. They're in the past, but
so Glenn, who was it? Who was it last time that was on with us?
I believe it was Erin.
It was, yeah, because wasn't Erin? She took calls for that as well, didn't she? Wasn't she
Yes.
working? Yeah.
I do now as well.
Oh dear. Okay. Yeah. See, it'd be so hard. I mean, just to,
I don't know. I've got a weird mind with it. I don't know. Because like I would watch a lot of videos about stuff like that. So like whenever I take the calls, even though I haven't had to take any that are that crazy, I mean, we had to take a pretty crazy one the other day, but I'm kind of like, oh, okay, now we got something going. I don't feel like it hits me like it would hit some people.
Yeah. No, it probably wouldn't. No, I think anyone that's
I've just got a twisted mind, so that helps a little bit.
Yeah, Glenn said that about you. I said no, it can't be true.
Very true. Very accurate.
Very true. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with a twisted mind if it's okay.
I think to be in emergency services, you kind of have to be, because you go running into burning buildings, you take calls from people.
Yeah,
dying,
you can't be the for a lack of a better term, you can't be a wuss about it. You got to be able to.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, you got to be able to hear it all.
I got pulled to go to the psychiatrist during a it was I said stop during a we had to have, for one department I worked for, we had to have evaluations every year, 6 months, whatever it was, and they said, well, what do you think about your job or whatever? And I just looked stone blank and said, I intermingle in people's nightmares daily. And they were like, oh, you're going to the shrink. I'm like, me? What'd I do?
That was like with one we were dealing with the other day, because I had to take it, and they were like, okay, well, you're new on this part. Are you going to be okay? And I'm like, no, I'm ready. Let's do it. Well, make sure you put that. No, I've already got it. We're good.
That wears off.
I think I saw something recently, and there was somebody, I can't remember what part of America, but she worked on those calls, and they were taking her to court because when people phoned and they had these major issues that were going on and they needed a police or she was putting the phone down on them. And she
should probably be going to court for that.
I think that was Atlanta. She was calling in her food order. Well,
is that right? Oh,
my gosh.
They do have a mute button. You don't have to put the phone down.
Well, but see, that's the other extreme of it. You get so used to it that nothing phases you.
Yes.
You go. I go into a room and there's a brain on the ceiling fan twirling around, and it's throwing gray matter on the Christmas tree with the kids dead under the Christmas tree. You just get, and that was an actual call, by the way. You get used to seeing these things, and it's another day in paradise, So there's the extreme, and that's when you start getting a little bit burnt out when nothing does phase you. And I used to tell my rookies, they'd be like, "Don't you want to go in and see this and that?" I'm like, "No, I've already seen it, and I don't want to put any more up here."
12 times already. So
yeah, wow.
Well,
yeah, I don't know if that job would be for me, to be honest.
Yeah, people are crazy. I mean, a lot of people, and I'm saying that in the term, the animal inside of humans can be extremely violent, extremely analytical. It can be crazy. I mean, it can go to extremes, like you say. And there are people out there that, like I was thinking when Salty was talking about releasing their negativity, there are some people that on that other spectrum, they like to do bad things to get that feeling.
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. I used to work at a place in Australia called Sexpo. So Sexpo was a health and lifestyle exhibition, and of all different types of people, all different shapes, sizes, all different sexual things, many different things. And it was fantastic. I worked there for 7 years doing my adult show. And I've got to meet some amazing people, the biggest porn stars in the world, male and female, the strippers, all sorts of different people. And, people that love bondage and people that hated it and this and it's amazing how different we all are. And we're not going to, don't worry, I'm not going to take you into this sexual thing, but it's amazing that so many people like different things, some of the people that the bondage ones amaze me. Some of those, and I became friends with many people, the great people. But some of those, they would get people in these. A friend of mine actually did it. He said, "Oh, I'll give it a go." And they said to me, "Do you want to go?" I went, "Fuck no." So they put him in this black, like it was like a bin bag, and they gave him this straw and like that out of his mouth, and they just sucked all the air out of this bag, and he was just like this mummified thing in this. And I went, not for me. But that really, it intrigues me that people's mindsets are so different. Others, they would be spanked with these metal, the spikes and things on these things. And, this was all in this exhibition. And like I said, I'm very open-minded to things and everyone to their own thing. It wasn't for me personally, but everyone to their own thing. And some of the things that they loved, and I just, it's
Wendell, quit airing my business.
Chey loves whips and chains, apparently. So
this is not the show to explore my kinky behavior.
He's looking in your window again.
That's it, exactly. You need to send your husband over there, get him out. Yeah, it's amazing though. That really brings that, because the sort of people there, they loved it because it was, and we're talking tens of thousands of people. I used to perform a show and there'd be 10,000 people in there. And it's amazing because they all felt safe. You had your gays, your trans, the men, the most butch men walking around in their skirts and dresses. And it was such a safe place for them. And it just really intrigued me that all these different people, it was amazing, and I love that. I love that sort of that safety thing. But it was just that mindset that some people had, the ones that did like this, ones that didn't like that. People that like the golden showers, people that didn't like the golden showers, people that love the other thing that I'm not going to bring up because it's not for me, and the other people that loved it. It was just people, they were just so different. And I love that because you don't see that in everyday life. So all these people, thousands
are you saying and specifying that, since you didn't specify it before the golden shower?
Yeah.
Are you specifying then that you aren't opposed to that?
I don't mind what anyone does, Chey. I personally, I wouldn't like it. I know I wouldn't. It doesn't do anything for me. But it's, I know what turns me on and what doesn't. And this is where our fantasies become reality. And this is why even under hypnosis, when I do an adults only show, I do one thing where I get them to imagine they're smoking a joint, for instance. Okay, so they're smoking a joint, and then because they're so high, now they're watching movies, and the first movie is a funny movie. So I say you'll laugh and laugh and laugh. They just picture it in their minds, the imagination. It's so you'll laugh and so they're laughing and laughing. And I say when I click my fingers, it instantly turns into a very, very sad movie. What I'm doing in this movie scenes is showing people how quick our emotions and things can change under hypnosis. And then I'll say when I click my fingers, you're instantly watching the saddest movie you could ever imagine. You'll cry your eyes out. Instantly, within a split second, they go from laugh and laugh and laugh to instantly floods of tears, crying, sobbing. Then I'll say when I click my fingers again, it's the scariest movie you could ever imagine. You will be petrified. I'll click my fingers and all of a sudden they go, ah, and they'll scream, and they'll go, when I click my fingers this time, you're watching a very naughty movie. You'll love it. And you can, and I click my fingers and they go, wow. And I go, when I click my fingers this time, it will turn into an interactive movie. And this is where you start seeing how these people would normally be sexually. So I say, when I click my fingers, you'll see the naughtiest movie, but it's interactive, which means that you can actually join in and have a go. Ooh. And when you see some of the things that these people do, you then realize what they're actually into. And it's the most funny. I mean, I find it really amusing. And people know that it's a naughty show. It's never filthy. I never make anyone strip. I never make them do anything filthy, but it's naughty. So you see the sexual side of them, which is really, because at Sexpo, that's everyone's inhibitions are there. They feel safe. Everyone's fine with everything. And it was just some of the things that they would do when they thought it was an interactive movie. And it was, you'd get the people that, the golden shower people, they wouldn't really do it, but in their imagination they would do,
I would love to see it's interactive and they just go pull the chair over and are just.
Oh, they do. Believe me, they do, and it was really, really. You'd get some people licking the chair. You'd get some people thinking there's a guy in front of them doing that. You'd get some people going like that. You'd get others doing that, and it's the most funny. It was the funniest thing, and that's what I'm saying. Laughter is the greatest medicine. Laughter is the most wonderful medicine, and that's why I always, even with the adult only show. There was a really famous hypnotist in Australia, and I got to know him before he passed away. And there was two of them that I got to know. They were the biggest in the world at one time. And I got to know them really well and became great friends. And one of them said to me, Mark, he was actually, believe it or not, he was in hospital. And he said, Mark, look, he said, I know that you do an adult show. He said, personally, it wasn't for me when I used to do them, because he used to do them in the 50s and 60s. So it was huge, because back then there was no internet, there was no YouTube, no nothing. So everyone used to go and watch hypnosis shows because they were just enthralled by this hypnosis thing. And so he said to me, I know you do an adults one. He said, but it wasn't for me personally. He said, but I will say one thing, give the audience what they want. And I never forgot when he said that. And he said, just give the audience what they want. And my Hypnotic show became so well known in Australia and other parts of the world. I used to go to South Africa. It was huge in South Africa at Sexpo and things. So it became really big. And it just goes to show that as adults, we like a bit of naughtiness. We like that cheekiness. We like that sort of thing. We don't need filth. Some people like filth, that's up to them, but we like the naughtiness. And, when you see people doing things that when they're normally suppressed and the little quiet mouse, and then they're on stage and they're in the interactive naughty movie and they're doing the most bizarre things, but it's funny, it's the most amazing thing to see people do stuff like that. So look, the mind, as I say, the mind's phenomenal. The imagination is phenomenal. And I just used to love that particular show. I used to love it. We used to do so many shows around Australia every year. Then we'd go to South Africa. Then they took it to other parts of the world, the UK. I didn't do the UK one. But they, it was amazing. It's amazing to see how many different types of people in this big place called Sexpo there were. Tens of thousands, all with different habits of all different types. And, and their fantasies. I mean, their sexual fantasies were just incredible. You'd meet the porn stars, the biggest porn stars in the world. We'd all go out and go to the after parties and go out for dinner with them and everything. You'd never know they were the world's biggest porn stars at the time, male and female. You'd never know. They were just
they're still just people.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, they're famous for something else. And yet you go out of them, they're the most wonderful, wonderful people. Many of them are smart, let me tell you, very smart people. And yeah, it was great. It's probably some of the best years that I've had in this field was working there. Yeah. But some of the after parties used to include a lot of things that you sort of didn't really want to get into as well. So
we can only imagine.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this wasn't for me.
So that's subjective.
But Cheyenne sitting there going, "Fuck, I would have been there."
I'm like, hold on, let me just.
I don't think there's a Sexpo in West Virginia.
If there was, I would not be there.
Right.
Yeah, they were amazing.
Amanda, you want to go to Sexpo in West Virginia?
Not even in Kentucky.
It's not probably.
No, thank
They
you.
get the biggest male porn star. Well, I actually met a guy that was so famous, one of the male porn stars, like the most famous Ron Jeremy, and he was huge in his day. And he was at Sexpo, and everybody loved him. They loved him, but he was so different to what you see on screen. They're all so different. It's incredible. And look, they, some of the male porn stars, Ron Jeremy's.
It's just acting, but in a different, a different way. So I mean, they're going to be different.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure how a lot of them would be on screen is not how they would actually prefer things as well. So again, they're just people.
Yeah. It was amazing. Like I say, and some of them were absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
And that was saying that's one of the reasons I started this show is everybody's got a story. I like the paranormal stuff. Yeah. But that don't.
He's still working on that.
Missed it by that much, but
hey, Glenn, you'll have to show him your. Oh no, you're not home. You can't show him your present.
No, I can't. But
prison. Prison? Did you say present?
No, they gave me a birthday gift that was quite phallic. So.
Yep.
Oh, really? Well, like I say, everyone's to their own.
Yeah.
It was Tiger's Eye for a reason.
So do I tell them about the cat thing?
You can, absolutely. But what I was going to say is that was the reason I started this show is because I think everybody has a story and I want them to come here and feel safe. And a lot of people, we've had athletes on that, ESPN, if somebody asked them, so tell us about your ghost story, they would just completely freak out. But here they're relaxed so that's why I started this. And we have had people come on and Amanda's seen it. We've been like, wow, that's a pretty crazy story. But they won't tell anybody outside of here, even though they know it's going to be public, but that's what I enjoy about it. This show, especially.
It's a paranormal safe space.
It is. I agree.
Exactly.
That's why I've come back. What is it? 3 times now. Because it's lovely. Look, I don't care what goes out of here. It doesn't, but because the reason I bought my book out is so that people knew the story. And then years later, they can't come back to me and say, you never told us that. Yeah, it's all in the book. Go and read it. That's why this sort of thing doesn't faze me at all. I love this sort of interaction because it's, wonderful. And that's, like I say, I've been on some podcasts and they're great, lovely people, but they won't be open like this. Very, very different. So, yeah. Actually, you've just reminded me, Amanda. I was thinking who you remind me of, Belinda Carlisle. Do you remember Belinda Carlisle?
Yes. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I loved her. No, absolutely loved her. Don't worry, if hubby's listening, I don't mean it in that way, I promise you. But I absolutely loved her. Yeah, she was wonderful. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. I was thinking you remind me of somebody. That's who it was. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
How important is culture when evaluating attitudes and the ability is willing to accept hypnotists? Stay. Okay. What was that? Did he say sheep on there? What was that? Oh, sleep. Oh, sheep. What? Sheep herder.
Like the culture for different areas, I think is what he said.
Okay. All right. So yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you a prime example of that, salty dog, whoever you are. So this I've had many people come and see me, but I remember different cultures. I had this African guy come and see me, and he had been to a witch doctor many years ago, and black magic, because that was in their village. He lived in a village in Africa, and the black magic was like, that was your doctor. You go and see the witch doctor, he'll sort you out. So obviously after a few bones and a few concoctions, this witch doctor said to him, if you ever look at women in the eye, you will die. Anyway, so this guy phoned me one day. He said, I've been to a witch. I said, well, okay. And he said, and the witch doctor said, anyway, so that's fine. So in my offices, I had some massage therapists working in here as well. They did all these sort of nice retreats and massage, and not happy ending massages, but they were just proper professional masseuses. So anyway, and beautiful women. Anyway, so as he was walking in for his session, one of them walked past him, and instantly his head went like that. And he walked past her, wouldn't look at her. So when I got him in the office and we went through everything, and I said to him, okay, I said, how long have you had this? He said, many years, sir. He said, I've had it many years. So I said, okay. I said, and you believe obviously the witch doctor because that was your doctor in the village? And he went, yes. Yeah. So I said, are you religious? And he went, yes, sir. And I said, who do you believe in? And he said, God. He said, I believe in God. So I said, excellent. I said, I thought you might say that. And that's what that's really good. So what we did, we used, and the reason I'm saying this story, Salty Dog, is so that you understand that there's certain religions and certain people that, think it's black magic and the cult and everything else. It's not. And that's absolute rubbish. That's a misconception. So this guy said to me, I believe in God, sir. And I said, great. Okay. So what we did under hypnosis, I started saying to him, look, do you believe that the witch doctor is more powerful than God? And he said, of course not. He said that God made the witch doctors. And I said, of course. I said, so if God says that you're okay, you can look at anybody, then would you believe that? He said, yes, sir, of course. I said, good. I said, and that's all I want to know. So under hypnosis, I then put that into his mindset that it's okay. God has said it's okay that you can look at women. And obviously, because he also, the witch doctors and everything else, they're powerful people. However, God is obviously the most powerful. And so when I brought him out of hypnosis, that was it. Amazing. It was done. But because of where he came from, his belief was the witch doctor was the most powerful person. So there's certain cultures that, he thought hypnosis initially was black magic, cult and everything else until somebody said to him, see this hypnotist. And he came to see me in that, and we obviously helped him. There was Filipinos on one of the ships that I worked on, and as it is in most ships, but these particular Filipinos were absolutely petrified of the hypnosis. And then once they got to know me as a person, they realized that I wasn't this this cult leader, or, I wasn't into black magic or anything. It was just this mindset thing. And they started loving it. They'd come to every show. I used to do a show for the crew only, because they would never get to see the show otherwise. So I used to do a show at midnight for the crew. and it would be so full of them in the end because they loved it in the end. But it depends where they're from, what cultures. There's certain cultures that do still believe it's black magic, the cult, etc. But it's not, obviously. Like I say, it's completely nothing like any of that. And I think I said to you before, Glenn, about a lot of these, a lot of religious leaders use hypnotic language. That's fact. They're absolute fact. A lot of them use it, especially these evangelists and people like that. When you see them on stage and they hype the audience up and then all their followers up, and that all of a sudden they go, you're cured, and this person falls back on the stage. I do that on stage. I do it on stage with some of the volunteers. It's exactly the same thing. They're just hyping people up, and then once they're hypnotizing them. Then once they're hypnotized and they go, you're cured, this person falls backwards. Well, I obviously say sleep, and they sleep and they fall backwards. Exactly the same thing. Many of these people say that there's something wrong with hypnosis because they don't want people to know that they use hypnosis.
Yes.
And that's what it is. So they try and put them off by saying all these negative things about it, but they're using it themselves. Yes. So that's definitely Salty Dog. I hope I answered you there. I know it's a bit of a long story, but I like long stories.
Well, no, that's absolutely right. And there's science behind it too. So
absolutely.
Salty, I don't know who is saying things to you, but I don't see them on my end, or I would get on them. So you're not a clown, Salty. So
you need to quit being Salty.
You keep asking questions, mate, because if nobody else is going to ask any, I can't answer any.
Oh, that's right. And then we have Chris. He says he loves your accent. And for about 10 minutes now, he's been talking like you. He may adopt it permanently. So.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, thank you.
If he decides to adopt it permanently, I expect a video of him going to the gym using that.
Definitely, Chris.
You don't have to send that one to me, Chris.
So what is this cat story?
Which one?
Me.
You had, Mark, you had said should I tell him about the cat?
Absolutely.
Oh, Glenn. Well, no, what me and Glenn were saying the other day. And can I tell them, Glenn, or not?
Go right ahead.
If I was going to say, if it's a secret, it's a secret. I wouldn't tell. But Glenn said he sometimes says that he says that sometimes he acts like a cat. And I said, look, no judgment here, Garfield. And again, like I say, we're all different. And that's the thing, I think it's wonderful. Do you know one of the greatest things with hypnosis and changing people's mindsets is that you can actually get them to be whoever they want to be. Like I've helped some models, for instance. And so the models, you get them to walk around like a model all day long. And then they get into that mindset of being that model. And that's what Chris, I think Chris liked that about you and your cat, Garfield. Maybe I should start calling you Pimp Garfield instead. And
now we've got to get him an orange fur coat.
Hold on here. We got to do this. And hold on.
He has enough orange to wear. He's from Tennessee.
Okay, I'll stop.
There you go.
Oh my God.
But it's, again, everyone to their own thing. Do you know what I mean? We shouldn't judge, but we do sometimes. Many people do. It's like when we first meet somebody, you could sit there and tell me all day long until you're blue in the face that you don't judge. You could sit there and tell me that. I wouldn't believe a word of it, because every single person, even if it's a split second, we judge. And we can't help it, but we do. It's human nature. And, so when people tell me things like, identify as this or identify as good for you. So what? That's great. I'm pleased for you. Are you happy doing that? Yeah, perfect. That's all I want to know. Honestly, it's such a shame that there's so many people that
are you happy? You're not hurting anyone.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you need to. That's all people should really look at, but they don't. What do you mean you identify as this, or what do you mean you're that? What do you mean you're this? What about it? Is it hurting you that they're identifying as something else? Is it hurting you that they want to be a boy rather than a girl? Is it hurting you that they're gay? Is it hurting you that they're straight? No, well, shut up then. Let them get on with it and enjoy their life.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what people don't do.
Yes.
Exactly.
Be who you want to be. That's the most wonderful thing, is that people should be able to be what they want to be.
A big thing too is it's like, well, I don't get it. Well, you don't have to get it.
Exactly.
A lot of things, I don't understand, but it's not me. I don't have to understand it.
Yeah, that's it. No, you don't. You're right. You don't have to get it. That's all. That's those people should cut. Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's people should be able to do and be what they want to be, and they should be able to do what they, as long as, like you said, Cheyenne, that they're not hurting anybody and they're happy.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. There's too many people that judge people rather than, like I say, I know that I judge people. I do, and I'm not going to sit here and say I don't. I judge them for a second, that split second, because if I meet a client, for instance, and the client says to me, I'm coming to see you because I've got some real, self-worth issues. And then they walk in and they've got some creased up clothes on, their hair's messy, and, they've got no teeth. Then I'm going to say, okay, I can see why you've got self-worth issues. Let's see what we can do about it. Go to the dentist, get yourself some false teeth, start pressing your clothes. My children, when we go out, I get my kids every second week, and when we go out, sometimes at their mums, they don't press their clothes, and I always say to them, please, darlings, look, it's that first impression that people have of you, and I press their clothes. I can't help it. It's something that I did when I was a teenager. My mum never used to press our clothes. We'd go out so scruffy looking, and holes in our jeans and holes in our shoes. So there was no sort of, self-pride or self-worth. And I always say to my daughters, give me your clothes.
You sure you didn't grow up in Appalachia? That sounds a lot like Appalachia.
Is it really, what, in a good way or a bad way? Is that a bad way?
It could be both.
It obviously is by that pause. Yeah, thanks.
Well, it could be a little bit of both. I mean, hey, we're all good. We grew up to be fine people.
Our vice president came from there, so come on, it isn't that bad. You can get out of it. He went on to be a lawyer, a New York publicist.
I love him. I love Jack. You and I spoke about this last time. I've watched that movie so many times.
Yep.
I love it. Hillbilly what's it? A hillbilly effigy.
I think.
Yeah. Love it. I love it. And I think that man is just amazing. What he's done with his life. You might not like him because he's with Trump. Personally, I don't mind any of them, but like I say, I see different things in different people. So I can see the good and bad in everybody, and I'm sure people can look at me and see the good and bad in me. But I think JD is amazing, what he went through and what his life has turned out to be. That to me is the sort of stories I love. I really do. And,
agree.
People don't see that sometimes. They just see what he's doing now, and I just love it. I've told you before, I think we discussed this last time. One of my favorite stories is Shaq O'Neal's, Shaq, what he went through and things, and Oprah, amazing. If you can just see what they went through to get where they are. Yeah, Elon Musk. I mean, people hate him at the moment, but personally, I don't. I've read his book. I think he's amazing, and I would have a Tesla tomorrow, because I just think what he's done for so many millions of people around the globe. Don't look at what he's doing at the moment. Look at how he got there. They go, he's the richest man in the world, fucking idiot, fucking this. That's your opinion, but look what he's done for so many people, and he started with nothing. So
I wouldn't be able to be on here right now if it weren't for Elon Musk, because we don't have internet. I have to have Starlink. I live in the middle of nowhere, so my only internet option was to buy Starlink. Wow. So I wouldn't even be able to be on here tonight if it weren't for Elon Musk.
And isn't it a shame, Amanda? This is what I'm saying. We all look at people and we look at them, and if we don't like something about them, we look at that and focus on that. We don't look at what they've done. We look at, oh, Chris, what a crawler. Look, you ladies are looking beautiful as always. Chris is obviously one of your regulars. Yeah. Well done, Chris. Good words. I should have said that, mate. I might have been in their good books by now. So, yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's a shame because there's good and bad in everybody. There really is, and we've got to look for the good sometimes as well as the bad. I think
more people need to adopt that mindset of like, yeah, the stuff that they're doing right now isn't great, but that doesn't define them as a whole, as a person.
No, well, like Amanda said, if it wasn't for Elon Musk and what he's done, she wouldn't be talking to us now, and what a loss that would be for us.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
I agree.
Your husband's not still listening, is he? If he's there.
I think so.
Whoops, I didn't really mean it in that way, mate.
He's not the jealous type.
Oh, good. It's
he'll forgive, but he will never forget.
Absolutely, that's it exactly, and that's how we should all be. We should all be that way. I know people say forgive and forget. No, we can't. No, that's harder. We can forgive. And even then, sometimes, do we truly forgive everything that somebody's done? I don't believe we do. We try and say it, I forgive you. And then deep down, you're going, I fucking can't stand you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's hard. And even I get many clients like that. I say, look, do your best to forgive them. They go, I can't. And I go, just do your best. You don't have to forget, but just do your best to forgive. Even if you say it, at least part of you is saying those words. Many things that people, see me for, of course, they'd never be able to forgive people for it, but they've got to at least say those words for now. It's part of that healing process.
Yeah. Well, I got a question for you. Is the clock on the wall behind you, does it work? Because I swear I've been
believe it or not, I've got to put batteries in it. Yeah.
I've been staring at it the whole time. That clock doesn't work.
You thought we were stuck in time, mate, didn't you?
You never know.
Here it would not be surprising.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's it. The paranormal stuff. Yeah, but no, it's not. I just love it because it's got London on it. I love things with. Although I'm so proud to be Australian now. I do agree with that, Wendell. Yeah, that's absolutely true, and I do believe that actually. But it's best if you don't get revenge. Sometimes depends what you're getting revenge for, and look,
like I said, karma.
Yeah. Karma, exactly. Sometimes we've got to leave it to karma, because I think revenge is, that I'd probably be in prison if I went out and got revenge on some of the people I dislike, and I didn't like young offenders. I don't really want to go back. Yeah, exactly. That's it. So sometimes, revenge is best served cold, but I think karma, just let karma do it sometimes.
Revenge is best served in due time.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. And again, though, it depends what you're getting revenge for. Some people seek revenge for the most ridiculous things. That they really do. And, silly things.
That 5-minute bad day.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
You're milking it. Yeah.
You're
milking it.
Yeah, and it's such a shame,
Mark, all this time you've not mentioned your book. Now, you do have one available for download for free, which is an amazing book.
I do. Yeah.
But you also have a real. That's not right.
A real one. Thanks. So you said the one online's fake.
No, I mean you have one available at Amazon and Barstool.
If this is the first time tonight that he stuck his foot in his mouth, he's doing good.
Hey, I didn't ask you if you didn't mind if America come and took your shit, did you? I didn't ask about that. Sorry, Canada. Sorry.
I know. What a shame. I love Canada as well. Absolutely love Canada.
We do too. That's why we're taking it. So
yeah, it's beautiful. I know. It's a shame, but it is a shame that they can't become one in a way, because I do believe it would be so strong. It'd be good for both sides. It's a beautiful. Canada's beautiful, and it's but so so different parts of America. I've been to both, and I love them both. I love Americans. I love their positivity. Canadians are much more laid back.
But I think it depends on what part of the U.S. you go to. What part did you go to?
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. I went to Florida, and I did like it, I must say.
East Coast tends to be a little bit more positive than West Coast.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah. But I like Americans in general, because, some people say, oh, they can be so loud and so brash. I like that, because to me, that's that positivity. I love it when people go, get up there, come on, yes, come on. And I love that. Some people are so reserved. Yes, come on, get up there, go on, come on, yeah, go on. Yeah, fuck that. Come on, get up there and go. So I love it, yeah. But yes, I do have a book. There you go, look. So the road.
You've got a real book, yes.
It is a real book. Yeah, it's 300 odd pages in there. And it does tell my life story. And look, it's a fascinating story for those that want to be inspired to not take a bad 5 minutes and milk it for life. And like I say, look, when I'll be doing my podcast later on. I want to do a podcast. I told you, Glenn, called it's actually going to be called FCKADV, which is short for fuck adversities, because adversities, we all go through them. Every person goes through adversities, but it's through choice that we move on. And that's why I want people to come on, people that have been through adversities, and I want them to come on knowing that, they've done better in their life. I'd love to interview somebody like Oprah, Shaq, I'd love to interview everyday people that have been through adversities and come out the other side in a positive way because they decided to. And it's all through choice. And one of my greatest quotes that I actually thought of myself was, your life changes by choice, not chance. Choice. It's choice. It's not by chance. It changes by choice. I could have stayed in that position in my book, if you ever read it, but I could have stayed in that. Many of my family are still in that, that council estate mentality. They're still there. My mum, she's having problems at the moment with a load of druggies upstairs in the flats that she's in, the apartment she's in. And the funny thing is, I moved my mum out of there when I used to have computer stores many, 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 many years ago when I was 21. I had computer stores and I was doing really well. And I moved my mum off the council estate into a really nice apartment. I paid rent in advance. I paid everything. Within 3 months, she moved back to the council estate. Because the council estate would be like your not as bad as ghettos, but that sort of place where you've got sort of lower income people. And so she moved back to it. Why? Because of the camaraderie. She loved the camaraderie. Some of the people on the estates were the most wonderful people, and they're great people. Those sort of people I love doing shows for in the country towns in Australia. When I do shows, I love those sort of people because they're my sort of people. I can relate to them. And yet I can, I might see a multi-billionaire sitting in my office for therapy. So I can relate to those sort of people because I've been there. I've grown up in that environment, so I can relate to them. But it's amazing how many people love to be stuck in that environment and don't want to move out of it. And that's what I was saying earlier, Cheyenne, about you've got to not only change your mindset and then your life, you've got to change that environment first. Because without changing that environment, if I stayed in that environment, I've lost 9 friends now to drugs. Okay, so if I stayed in that environment, I know without a doubt I would have been in and out of prison. I would have been, maybe I might have even been dead by now, because they just went from one drug to another, to another, to another. I stopped at coke. They went on to your heroin, your crack, your everything else. And like I say, I've lost 9 of them now. And
that was like when I moved out of my parents' house for the first time. It was like, thank God, it's so quiet. I don't have to. And then here, the beginning of the year, I had to temporarily move back in with my parents, and I was there for like a month. And I was a week into moving into my place now, and I'm like, I've got to get out of here.
Yeah.
I've got to get out of here. It's driving me insane.
Because you fall back into it, don't you? You fall back into it. That's the problem.
Well, I don't blame my parents for it. They are in the line of fire of all the bullshit. So because I was there, I was then getting the load of it. And I'm just like, I hate to see my parents there having to deal with it, but I'm like, I need to get out of here. I can't deal with it anymore.
Yeah,
like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just don't give a shit anymore about all of my sister's drama. I need to get out of here.
There you go. You've just said it. See, that's the problem. You go around that drama and get always. To me, I always say that the whole idea of the podcast is really to see when people blame creed, color, religion, size. That's rubbish. It's all mindset and choice. You either have the want to change, or you don't have the want. You go through life blaming everybody else and everything else in your life, and that's where you've got to. I always say there's three things. If you abide by them in life, your life will change. Number one is take ownership of the things you do or say wrong in life. Stop blaming everybody else. Stop blaming the world. Stop blaming your creed, your color, your religion, and everything else. Take ownership of the things you do or say wrong.
You are responsible for your own actions, regardless of everything else.
It's all choice. Yeah, that's it. And if you take ownership of that, you'll move on in a good way. The second thing is take ownership of the things you do or say right in life. Pat yourself on the back. Tell yourself that you're proud of yourself, because if you wait for other people to tell you how proud they are of you, you might be waiting forever. And number three, life's about choices. You make your own choices. Don't let other people make your choices for you. If you abide by those three things, your life will change.
I will be the spokesperson for if you wait for somebody to tell you that they're proud of you before it is never going to happen.
Yeah,
I waited.
So exactly,
and I waited,
no one's ever told you.
Didn't happen.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. It very rarely happens to people. I get so many people in therapy that have never been told their parents are proud of them. Or I'll say to them, do you tell your kids you're proud? No, because no one ever told me. It was just how I grew up. And I say, no, you've got to tell them how proud you are of them. Even if they've done nothing, tell them you're proud of them. I tell my kids all the time. I've got a son who's 28. He's a lawyer, and he's, I hug and kiss him. I don't care if there's 10,000 people in front of us. He gets a big hug and a kiss, and I tell him how proud I am of him. And right the way down to my youngest one, who's 13. Because you've got to tell them how proud you are of them, because sometimes if you've never had it done to you, then help someone else believe that you're proud of them, or help somebody else believe that they're doing the right things, and that's why they can be proud of themselves. It's so important. And hugs, you wouldn't believe how many people I hug. I'm a hugger, because I believe that's where you get the energy from. And if I don't hug you, if I stick my hand out, shake your hand, and I don't, rather than hug you, you know that something's not right. And I've only done it very few times in my life where I've gone to hug someone and my body has gone, no. And I've put my hand out to shake their hand. Then I find out later that these people are fucking really not nice people. So that energy from a hug is incredible. The amount of people that I hug after a session or even before a session sometimes, and they burst into tears because they've never been hugged. It's incredible. It's absolutely amazing what a hug can do. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, I firmly believe that. It's like with me and my little group of friends, we are all, I mean, my family is a family of huggers too, so I'm just a very huggy person. But I mean, the hugs, even with just your friends, I love you, I'm thinking about you.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge to people.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Anytime, anywhere. on any subject, I will overwhelm this dude. I can regurgitate bullet points from Power of Positive Thinking. Also, such profanity. He says he can't take it. Well, Salty, that's okay.
Well, I think Salty needs to go over to TikTok and he needs to listen to the Jeffrmations from Jeff Goldblum. That might help him.
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
Well, also, have you ever seen the four agreements? Have you ever watched that video on YouTube?
I don't believe so.
Salty Dog, you must go and watch it. It's called The Four Agreements, and it's absolutely amazing because it tells you it's okay to be you, and it just goes through. It's probably the best video I've ever watched in my life. It's amazing, and it's absolutely true. It just says be you. You don't try and be other people all the time. Don't try and please everybody. Just be you. And I think one of the greatest books was what's that one about? Not giving a fuck.
Oh yeah.
Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Brilliant book. You ever read it?
No, but I know the one you're talking
Amazing
about. Yes.
Book. Great book. It's huge. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Absolutely brilliant book. Yeah. It says don't give a fuck. Stop worrying about what other people think of you all the time.
It's true.
It's so bizarre. I mean, of course we all do sometimes.
Even with that, that's you adopt that mindset. Another backpack you're taking off. You're never gonna. Never gonna be able to please everybody. Not every single person is gonna like you, and that's fucking fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You don't need a million friends. You just need 3 to 5 really good friends.
When you are yourself, your people will find you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Salty says he has seen it. He says, "I am me." Ask the panel. Well, yeah, he's fun. So, we love you, Salty. We love you. We give you a Wendell shit, but we love you. So, Mark, listen, you and I have talked about this in the past. We need to do like a once a month show. I need it for therapy because just listening to you. So,
agreed.
Yeah.
We need to make that happen.
Yeah, like I said, anytime.
In the meantime, we've taken a lot of your time out of your schedule, so I appreciate it, and we do want you to come back. You finally got to meet the girls. Amanda didn't talk as much as I thought she would, but
I didn't think it was wonderful.
I've been listening.
We'll get her out of her shell eventually.
I was going to say, Amanda, you're very quiet, Amanda.
There's been a lot to listen to and to take in.
Yeah, I've enjoyed listening to you, Mark.
Yeah, my apologies if I've spoken too much. I just sometimes if I don't talk and then it goes quiet, I'll think, fuck, I should have said something.
I've actually sent you a friend request on Facebook.
Oh, stalker.
Well, it's really bizarre, Amanda. Do you know, I was saying to Glenn last time, the worst thing about Facebook, I love Facebook. However, I lost my account of 15, 16 years. I lost it. Just like that.
Oh,
and I lost it about a year ago. And I stopped using Facebook because I had in all probably about 10,000 followers on there because I built it up over 15, 16 years. And I lost all these followers. That was my main business hub where many people used to go and they'd message me for business therapy shows. And I lost it, completely lost it. Couldn't get back into it. It still sits there now. And I can see it. But I had other accounts that ran off of that one as well with all these other followers, about 10,000 in all. And so I stopped using Facebook for about 9 months because I was so pissed off that they wouldn't. I tried emailing them. I spent thousands of dollars with them on advertising. And, I lost all those followers and I still couldn't get not one person. I couldn't get hold of one person that could help me. I tried resetting the password. It come back. No, this account's blocked. I tried doing all these other things, tried phoning Facebook. No, we don't take phone calls. You go online. And so I had to start again. And I'm glad I'm getting more followers now, but it took me so long to build up that sort of 10,000. And now I don't know what it is now, probably 200 and something. But it's a shame because Facebook, I love it in so many ways. And then I really dislike the way we're just numbers. We're just a number. And I understand that they've got 2 billion users on there. So I understand that my account isn't important to them, but it's important to me because after 15, 16 years,
Right.
it was my main business. That's what I used for business. And my business, honestly, I saw my business go like that when Facebook stopped. And honestly, you can see it on there. It's under, I think, Hypnotist Mark Anthony. Now it's the Hypnotist Mark Anthony. Actually, you better make sure you've actually signed on the right one.
To the right one.
What one of you? Yeah, because you might have gone to my old account. So did you go to Hypnotist Mark Anthony or the Hypnotist Mark Anthony?
It's just Mark Anthony. Glenn's
okay. So that's okay. Then that's okay. Then okay.
Yeah.
They've hacked into my private friends list. That's what they've done. So.
I've actually been banned for life on Facebook.
What? Why?
So I got on Facebook and I reached the 5,000 friend limit within 24 hours. It was, mostly wrestling fans. And then they all started sending me messages and everything. And they didn't believe I was really me.
Oh, okay.
So I sent a picture of me holding my driver's license. They still banned me for life. What? So I figured out that if you don't use the app and you use just the website on the internet and not the app, it cannot do facial recognition.
Wow, is that right?
So
wow, I never knew that.
I was able to stay on Facebook by not using the app.
So what
that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you're giving us a conspiracy theory. The app actually does facial recognition?
It sure does. Yep. I cannot use the app because it recognizes my face and it knows my face is banned from Facebook.
Wow.
I'm telling Brenda, this is a whole show. So.
Yep.
That's
so I can only use the website now.
Wow. I never knew that.
That's crazy.
See? It's a shame. See, it's so bizarre, Facebook. Like I say, I love it and I dislike it in other ways.
Yeah.
Like that. So you've got all those fans that, and all those other wrestlers. Yeah. And overnight you reached X amount and yet they didn't believe you. That's incredible.
And it's proven they listen. The night my aunt was picked up, my cousin was here. His mom. And I was explaining to him what EMS was doing. And, they had this stretcher that folds down and it does this and this. And so he understood what was going on. And the very same day I started getting advertisements from that stretcher company. It's like, come on.
Amazing,
it listens for sure because I have my phone sitting next to me while I work all day. I'm a licensed optician and I will get ads on Facebook for the lenses that my company does.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah.
See? Incredible, isn't it? It's amazing. Like I say, it's amazing how they do it.
And I was watching Jurassic Park the other day. Then I start getting ads for Jurassic Park merch and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, well, here's what I didn't expect. My aunt is in the rehabilitation to get her ribs and her arm back to working properly. And one of the patients in one of the other rooms' last name is Baloney. And my mom come in just talking about this like it was the greatest thing ever. Now I'm getting ads from Oscar Mayer, hot dog place.
No. Now I'll tell you a crazy one. Whenever I was working at the credit union, whenever I was still living back home, we had a lady from up the road come down and visit us. They were opening like a spa, and she had given us like a little paper that had the different services that they offer. And we were asking about one of them because we'd never heard of it before. And it was basically some type of machine to, I don't even remember at this point what it was, but I remember what it was called. And we were getting on, and this wasn't on the cell phone. This was on our work computer. She had pulled up the work computer and was looking for something. Boop, there pops up that machine.
Wow.
Yeah. And we were all like,
because there's a way you can turn it off though, isn't there, on your phone so that it doesn't pick up things like that. There's actually a way. I looked it up on YouTube and I didn't do it personally, but I know there's a way that you can turn that off so that it doesn't actually recognize what you're talking about or something. Yeah, so
I'm sure
but
they'll
then
find
again,
a way to.
Oh, I'm sure they will. Well, you think of what Glenn said earlier, that you sent him that big dildo. So now he's going to get ads for dildos all the way.
He'll get more ads for crystal penises. So.
Oh, pickles. I see him every day. Good God.
Hey, you did that to yourself. You're always sending pickle shit to the group chat.
Yes. And you didn't ask Mark Anthony here if he likes pickles. So
I love pickles.
Hey, you are the one that always asks the question.
Listen, do they have Chick-fil-A's in Australia?
Do you know what? It's funny you say it. My daughters have just said they started opening them because we were looking at Chick-fil-A's. Yeah, it's funny. Or the UK. They might have said it was the UK because we went back there recently. And my daughters were talking about Chick-fil-A's so much. Yeah. So
awesome.
it might be here. I'll look it up because if there is, there's only one or two of them.
Well, if let's just say you're presented with a golden chicken sandwich, it's fried like it's in the deep south of the States, and there's a pickle on top of it when you unwrap your beautiful, perfect sandwich. What do you do with that pickle?
He just said yum.
Yeah, yum. I'll be eating that pickle straight away.
Not me. Out the window, on the windshield of the car behind me, going down the road.
Wow, really? Oh, I love them. Oh, I love pickles. In fact, I've got a jar of pickles in the fridge in my office. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, I love
You gotta have dill, bread and butter.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I can't.
You've
get
made
down
me really
with
hungry now.
I can't get down with the sweet pickles, but I will fuck up some dill pickles any day.
That's not what you told me. You said you like the sweet pickles, so.
certain sweet pickles.
Come on, he went and got a set of teeth custom made just for you. So
Chris said throwing pickles on others' windows is cheeky.
Jesus Christ. Mark, you created a monster.
He's going to be doing this to me tomorrow during my show.
I agree with you, Chris. I can't believe that. So you know that if you're ever driving behind a car and you get a pickle on the window, you know it's
Glenn.
You know it's Glenn, yeah.
I'll be driving along going, damn it, Glenn.
No, just hold on. Let me just reach out there and hold on.
Launch it back. Yeah, fried pickles. Lord. Fried pickles I've not had, I must be honest. Wendy just said fried pickles. I've had fried pickles.
Oh, they're so
fried.
You haven't lived. You haven't lived, Mark.
In batter.
Yeah.
In batter.
It's like eating fried slime.
Oh,
fried slime.
No.
Shut up. Shut up.
Fried pickles are delicious, especially if it's the whole spear. Have you had the whole spear one, Cheyenne?
Yes.
Oh my God.
We used to sell those at my first job. At my first job, we had them and they were the full spear and they're like beer battered. So it's like a thick batter, but they were kind of spicy.
Yes.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah,
I might try that.
I've only seen slices. I've never seen the whole pickle fried. But here in the South, we fry everything. They fry Milky Ways, Twinkies,
Oreos. Oh, I love the fried Oreos.
I have not tried that. So,
speaking of losing weight, Mark.
yeah.
Come to the South, you're gonna gain like 50 pounds.
Yeah, and that's it. Well, I honestly, I love food. I really enjoy food. My favorites pastas. I love pasta, pizza, glass of wine with it. I just love all that stuff. So
now I would.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I just said when you're talking about pickles. I'm hungry now.
Yeah.
Well, there's your homework. Before you come on the show again, you've got to go find some fried pickles.
Yeah, well, I might do them because my daughter loves pickles, so I might do some and try them out.
Yeah.
Liverpool fan. Oh, is that right? Oh, you're a Liverpool fan. It's funny. I listened to, believe it or not, Chris, I was listening to You'll Never Walk Alone. I've got it on my phone. I play it quite often. And that's Liverpool's, well, you would know, actually, if you're a Liverpool fan. That's their song, their theme song, isn't it? And I love that song. Do you know that song, everyone? You'll Never Walk Alone? You'll Never Walk Alone, Amanda. Have you never heard of it? It's a great song. It's called You'll Never Walk Alone.
Maybe if I heard it, I would recognize it.
Yeah. It's brilliant, and it's Liverpool's. It's their song. It's their theme song. So, yeah, Iowa State Fair will get you messed up.
I'll take his word for it. Fried daisies. Never heard of that one either. So
I've heard of fried dandelions.
Yeah. Okay. It's probably
no, I've never heard of them. Oh, actually, yes, I have. Fried dandelions. I've heard of. Yes, yeah, I have actually. Yeah, I've never had them, but
no.
I'm going to do the pickle thing though. I will try that with my daughters, and I'll let you know next time I'm on if I had it.
All right.
Yeah.
Worked at Sexpo in the adult industry. Can't tell me dude ain't banging taste hypnoed out bitches.
Oh my gosh.
No, because Mark has morals, unlike
I
some
was
people.
just going to say that.
That would be me. That would be me.
Yes.
All right. Well, Mark, I'm going to let you go because we've kept you way longer than we should have.
Thank you. I've had so much fun again. Thank you.
We're going to have you back. You're going to become a regular. I hate to tell you that. So
sounds good. Sounds good.
You're going to become one of my bitches. You're going to become one of my bitches.
I don't know about that, Glenn, but thanks for the offer.
Well, no, see, well, then here we'll make it this way, Mark. You can be mine and Amanda. You can be one of mine and Amanda's bitches.
Now that would suit me, as long as Amanda's husband's not listening anymore. That's fine.
Don't worry, he's afraid to fly. He won't.
Hey, that's what we need to do. We need to have you work on Amanda because she's afraid of fish. It's a real phobia.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have ichthyophobia.
Yeah, we could definitely.
Yeah, mine is holes.
What?
Holes?
Excuse
like
me?
like you know how beehive looks?
Oh no way! I've got two friends that are petrified of that sort of thing. They can't even look at it. Wow!
Nope.
And I keep saying to them, "Let's do sessions," but they won't. Yeah, isn't that bizarre? They won't get rid of it. They don't want it. And I just go, we could do that easy.
And on my Facebook feed, there'll be videos of stuff like that comes up every now and again, and I'm just like,
yeah, wow.
Yeah, I can't.
We could do a fearophobia one.
And see, I love watching pimple popping videos with blackheads and stuff.
Yeah,
that doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me, but I can't do like the honeycomb. I can't.
I've never heard of that one either.
Yeah.
Honeycomb is that's I've got like I say, two friends that are exactly the same as you on that one, Shane.
People will Photoshop videos of the honeycomb look with blood coming out of it on people's hands or their feet, and it freaks me the fuck out. I cannot.
Wow. Yeah, we could definitely do something.
I forget what it's called, but ooh.
Yeah, we'll have to get you back, and you can do. I mean, you don't have to hypnotize either of them online. But if you do, I want Cheyenne clucking like a chicken. But now what'll end up happening is I'll be over here pushing buttons, and I will be the one hypnotized, probably. But
no, and then you'll be sitting over there opening a jar of dill pickles. Just
easy.
Oh,
yes, we need to see if we can get Glenn to eat a pickle.
Yeah, that's it.
Only if they're Miranda Mavericks.
Yeah. Oh, don't! You've made me really hungry. I'm going to go and have a pickle out of the fridge in a minute. Honestly,
speaking of
my
which,
guy,
Miranda Maverick has the best pickles. I did eat her spicy garlic pickles. So there, I
she
have
does have some good pickles. Prowler pickles.
Prowler pickles. We're not paid to endorse her yet, even though I'm begging her to. So. But yeah, Mark, I saw Chris.
Call me Chris if you like.
Yeah, well, I'll just call you whatever.
Call me what you like, pimp.
So, just call you daddy. I'm not really sure where to go with that, Salty. So,
thank you, Salty. I appreciate it. I have been complimented before. Thank you.
But yeah, we'll get you back on. I love having you on. Thank you for coming on. It's
my
great.
pleasure.
And,
Thanks for having me again.
Mark.
Thank you. And it's lovely meeting you, ladies. Really
Nice
good to
to
meet
meet
you.
too.
I look forward to
go buy his
you.
book. Yeah, everyone go buy his book. You can download the free one. It's
Download
not the
the
real
free
one,
version.
but
It's exactly the same.
It's a great book.
If
He was
you
a pyro,
Google-
that's why I was attracted to him. So
If you Google the Rogue Hypnotist, the book pops up on Google. So
Well, also, it does. And if you just go to hypnotist.com.au, you can actually go from there to the book as well. So it's hypnotist.com.au is easy to remember. That's a good thing. Or the roguehypnotist.com.
I think it's in the show notes. So, but yeah, absolutely. And Mark, we will have you back again soon.
I look forward to it.
It's been a pleasure. I enjoy having you on.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and I shall speak to you again soon, I'm sure.
You too.
All right.
See ya.
We'll
Take
talk
care.
to you soon.
See ya. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I have to wait for Amanda's bye-bye. That's when I know I can click the button.
You know, I say that at work, and everyone's like out before they hang up. I'll hear them turn around and go, I just love her accent.
Yeah, when I'm listening back and I'm doing the audio editing, I'm like, okay, I can delete from there on. That's it. So that's the end of the show. So if I swear to God, if you go listen to all the FM stations, some of the shows, you'll hear that's the last thing you hear is bye-bye, and it fades into a song.
That's great. I'll have to make sure I do that every time.
Yep. So
I guess I do unconsciously.
As soon as you get it in there, I'll wait. And I'm like, all right, she got it in. I can cut it. So.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah, that was a great show. Funny. I know we ran really long, and I appreciate Mark for coming on and staying for 2 hours 40 minutes. So we had a great time and a great show. He's great. I've only got the free version of the book. I'm going to hit him up. I want an autograph book, so I'm going to hit him up for that. But yeah, it's a great book, and he's one of these people that you rarely come on in life where you just kind of click right off with him. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of, it's a wonderful feeling and you feel like you could talk to him about anything. So,
well, and it was funny with him talking about like you judge people right from, whenever you meet them. Mm-hmm. And it was just immediately like, I'm going to like him.
Yeah.
Well, and EMS, the first 10 seconds, I can tell if you're really sick or you're full of shit. I mean, it's just a learned trait. And it's true. So, all right. I know you probably got to go to bed, you guys. Well, Cheyenne shifter, but I know Amanda is. Salty says, "Come on, your BS radar didn't go off of the dude." Well,
wasn't in the adult industry.
No, he just entertained them.
Yeah, that sounds worse. But
and they entertain him later.
He's doing a strip show as he's.
He did his show for them.
I just suddenly pictured him wearing pasties with the. Never mind. Anyhow, where am I going with this? All right, so, stop it. Stop it. So next week, I've had to do some schedule rearranging since we took last week off because of what's going on here. So I did some schedule rearranging, and then I hadn't been really actively booking too far in advance. That's changing. We now have several agencies that are fighting for our spots. So you guys, the fans, are the reason. In fact, Salty, you were talking about, you were the ones that throw out questions. That was one of the things that one of the agents said to me. He watched our chat and loved how we interchanged with our chat. So I appreciate all of my fans for that. That got us an agent. Well, if you work there, you work. Come on, Salty. I had the guy that filmed the sex stars for 2 hours on one night. So
Vic Vagina. That was a great show.
That's it. It was.
Yeah.
But next week, we're going to take a little bit of a deviation. We're going to go into the comic book world, and we have a young lady by the name of Taki Soma. She is a colorist, an artist. She's an author. Well, she's done a lot in the industry, and she's got a new comic book coming out talking about aliens and ET. So we're going to talk about that. So shit will get weird on TV, on the screen. And then in our second hour, we have another pretty famous cartoon person, Omar Morales. I'm probably saying
Morales.
Morales. You know him, I'm sure, Cheyenne, from some of the stuff he's done. So we're going to have a great show. He's actually going to hook us up with some people from the CW and some actual comic book shows. So hang tight.
Ooh.
We're growing. We're growing now. Salty, I know also one of the questions you ask is why are we not monetized yet? Because we haven't got to that magical number yet. So we're trying. Yeah. Salty Dog wants to know, Amanda, when will your witch partner be back on? She makes me want to snuggle. It's the pillows. It's the pillows. I'm leaving it at that.
Well, as of right now, I will be her witch partner. So
Yes.
Okay.
Cheyenne and I are on Monday nights with Monday Night Horrors, and we will be back not this Monday, but the next. Is that right?
no, we didn't do this Monday, so it'll be next Monday.
Oh, okay. I thought you had to work every other Monday.
I worked this Monday.
Oh, okay.
Remember when we had to skip last week because of the weather? That would have been when we would have done it. So it'll be this coming.
I'm totally mixed up now.
Yeah, it'll be this coming.
So we will be on this coming Monday.
For those of you that follow us on a personal level, Amanda had a lot to deal with. I mean, she almost lost everything. It came within feet, and we're glad you didn't.
Her house was like on an island.
Yeah, it was. So. Luckily, we had three people come out and do surveys, and they put flags of exactly where to build our house out of the flood zone. And our entire house was surrounded by water. We got out as the water was coming around the front of our house.
And didn't a dam actually, it wasn't broken, somebody
10
opened
gates,
it up?
10 gates were opened from what the video said.
So that was actually planned.
Oh.
So that was planned, and it was done periodically. It was not all done like back to back immediately. Apparently somebody got really confused and put a video out and scared everybody. And then they had to come out and say, hey, that's not true. That's not what happened. Because if that had happened, our house would have been flooded.
Yeah, I mean, it was going to be bad.
So even their planned still screwed you over.
Yeah.
And well, y'all still have water coming from up north down, so and we're expecting some pretty severe weather coming up by Friday too. So, and Salty wants the dirty deets. He wants you to come clean on the dirty deets there, Amanda. So.
Oh, with Chey on the
scheduling.
that was a lull.
So we have two broke witches. We haven't done a show. We're still kind of working on everything. Life has been happening for sure, but that will be on Chey's YouTube channel whenever life, takes a break.
Yeah, and that's another thing. And I'm in her defense. A lot of people don't understand what it takes to go into it. I mean, I know Cheyenne's seen it because she's had to fill in for me and schedule the shows, and you've had to help me book people, Amanda. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it that people don't realize. And then in order to build the audience, you have to, if you're going to be there at 8:00 on Monday, you got to be there at 8:00 on Monday.
Yeah.
And it's the way it is. So, and a lot of people don't understand that going. That's why so many shows fail before the first 20 or 30 shows. They're like, I'm done with this. Because even you guys have talked me out of throwing everything up in the air and walking away.
They think it's going to be easy. Click, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of dedication.
It does. And you're not going to get the type of people coming on your shows unless you're consistent like we are. Yeah. And even though we have a small audience, and I'm very open about the fact that we've got 2 viewers, but I tell them the truth. We may not have the tens of thousands of viewers, but we have a loyal following for one, and for two, you're not going to get this type of show somewhere else. Like you said, the other people are kind of stiff; they don't interact, and Salty, your chat, you guys in the chat was one of the agents. They were like, they love that. That's what they enjoy, and there's a banter back and forth. I wish we could have kept the Misfits going, but the problem is everybody wants to do stuff on Saturday, myself included.
Yeah.
And the professional comedians, I had some booked, but they were like, I can't do weekends. So it was a great show idea, and we may go back and revisit it down the road, but it's probably not going to be a weekend unless we do a tape delay, and that's no fun because you don't get to interact. So I don't like that.
I mean, I think it's something to keep around. It'll just be a every now and again thing.
Yeah. We'll have like Misfit specials. So, where I'll probably say something stupid on live radio. So that's okay. That's okay.
I mean, that's pretty normal for you. So
Wendell keeps wanting us to come on his show. I'm not sure why. We'll let Cheyenne go on first, and then we'll go on there. And that's in reference to on my daytime show. When we look at the weather warnings, there's always a test message that they send out. It's like they send a test message out. I don't know how people live in Maryland and their damn phones and shit isn't going off, because Montgomery County, Maryland sends a test message out. That's the joke on the daytime show, is Andy sending out text messages or text messages. Andy gets airtime even on Bobby's show. So we love Andy. He got airtime on Bobby.
Bobby needs to get back over here at some point. I miss him.
I understand. It's the kids. They're off from school, and I get it. I get it. Plus, he's trying to do his own thing, and so I get it.
But I miss you, Bobby.
Yes, we all did. And we know you had Sonia on, and that's fine. She's Ken. I talk to her still, so I don't care. But yeah,
I don't know really what I would have to talk about on there, but I mean, yeah, sure. I guess I'll be volunteer distribute.
I just heard you say volunteer to strip. These speakers
tribute.
But I guess I'm being volunteer to distribute.
Well, now, Cheyenne, you've done other shows since you've been on here, and you're on the Thin Line Rock Station too. So
yep.
I've had Amanda. She's went on other shows. So yeah, I spread my girls out. So.
we're spread wide.
That's right. And I'm getting a Democrat girl too, just to balance me out. So
and because I don't regularly mention it, though I should. And I'm not on every week, but if you do want to catch me on another show, you can go on Spotify and look at Bracket Bastards. Mm-hmm. And I am on there, I'd say like once a month. So check them out. They're fun.
I think I'm scheduled Saturday. I'll have to look. I think I am. I'm not sure. So, but yeah, and we all do other things. I'm on the Thin Line Rock Station Tuesdays and Thursdays playing rock and roll music or whatever. And now I'm doing the daily news show. So we all do other things. But yeah, this is a great show. I love you guys. I love you girls. So what did Chris says, spread wide, afraid of holes. I'm leaving it alone. Chris, you're an island. You're on your own. Cheyenne, you say you think you're going to be on Bracket Bastards coming up soon. Anything else going on?
I won't be on this week. I'm not sure when I'll be on next.
Okay.
But no, really, I'm here. Me and Amanda will be on Monday evening. But if you want to hear me tell my crazy stories, I guess this past week was just like trauma dump, I guess. But you can check me out on the Thin Line Rock Station between 12 and 2 p.m. on Mondays.
There you go. Amanda, you got anything coming up? I know you're getting us some wrestlers soon, so you got anything coming up that we need to know about?
I'm getting a tattoo done.
Sweet. Where?
Where? Well, see, she went with where. I went with what? So.
What and where?
I'm getting a big weeping angel as part of my right leg.
Yeah. You had talked about that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be gorgeous, though.
I get that on the 24th. So
sweet.
The whole top of my right leg is done. So this will start the bottom.
It's gonna hurt.
Awesome. But it's gonna look awesome. It's a weeping angel.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it will look awesome, but that's gonna hurt. Say I'm a pussy.
Not as bad as the top of my leg on the inside of my thigh. That hurt. Or the back of your knee.
Well, see, a lot of places that you think would hurt don't end up hurting, because like whenever I got this one done, this is the part that I was worried about. So he started here, but this whole part up here was what sucked.
Yeah. My spine has been the worst so far.
Now, worse for me was this little top part.
Yeah. That didn't
this whole part was good, but just the little toes, that sucked ass.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm a wuss.
I didn't like the wrist. It feels like they're just cutting through your wrist.
That didn't bother me, but the upper part of my forearm sucked.
I'm a paramedic. I stuck needles in people all the time, but no, hell no.
Now, Chris, if he gets anybody, it better be Rhea Ripley, so I can sit here and drool.
I was gonna say, Chris,
I will not get CM Punk.
Well, you might want to take a week off.
Oh, please.
Remember who I sent an email out to?
Yeah.
That's her husband.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you did. Oh, that crazy bitch. Or she was crazy.
Easy. Hey, I love her. So easy. So, and I'm also working on another YouTuber.
I keep forgetting they're married. I just thought he would have married somebody a little less crazy. Or her persona, whenever I watched, was crazy as fuck.
I'm surprised anyone made him at all.
Oof, I could drool over that.
Oh Lord! All right. Yeah.
Did we get Cody Rhodes? The other Rhodes.
Well, ask Chris.
I did a show with his dad.
Can you get him? Well, no, his dad died, didn't he?
He did. He's deceased. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but he might be easier to get now.
Never know.
Just pull your blanket up and put it on the wall.
You wouldn't be able to understand a word he says.
God.
He talked to me like forever, and I have no idea what he said.
You
couldn't understand him at all.
I hate people like that. They just
You should look at Steve Rhodes and listen to his promos.
Wow. Do you think it was from the constant head injuries? Or
it was just his accent.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the way he spoke.
Yeah, I don't know. This new Cody Rhodes is kind of like.
Y'all are gonna have to educate me on WWE. I have a feeling we're gonna get some people here soon.
Back whenever I watched it, he was a little bitch. But he's got he's bringing some new energy this go around, and it's like.
Yeah, if only they still knew how to wrestle.
True.
That'd be great.
And I mean, I feel like it's mostly just to be in the WWE now. You just got to know how to talk shit.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, and wear kinky outfits. Okay, we want to thank everybody at Yerg's Radio and Rainbow Radio for allowing us to tickle your ears. Thank you to all of our fans. Please remember, tell your friends, hit that like button, that thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check me out tomorrow during the news and weather. That's right, Wendell. From 1 till 3 Eastern. And I guess that's about it.
Amanda, what's Pine Island?
WZQR.
Yeah, there we go.
That's it. And WRFN, Radio Free Nashville. Thank you. And Bigfoot Radio Network. Good God, I'll forget somebody.